Hey, Assbutt.
Do that again, but a little less intense.
Welcome to Hey, Assbutt.
Let's get dangerous.
Welcome to Hey, Assbutt.
There we go. That's
actually,
better.
I want to talk about this real quick.
What's
we
that?
are accepting applications to write a Hey Assbutt theme song, which includes
What?
the phrase, Hey Assbutt, when there's trouble you call DW. Hey Assbutt.
So you want someone to make a parody of the Darkwing Duck theme song?
Yes.
Yes.
But
yes.
with Hey Assbutt.
Yes, I want that.
I can just do that.
Oh, yeah, please do that, Travis. When I said accepting applications, I meant from you. And we're back!
Yeah,
Here
welcome.
with another episode of Hey Assbutt,
Okay.
Supermodel of the World.
You're going to have to put this somewhere else because Ducky is going to chew on it.
Hey, you're gonna knock over my wine. We're gonna have a fight.
Ducky, don't give a fuck.
Ducky.
Ooh.
Ducky and I seem to have a love-hate relationship. She's trying to knock over my wine. She was
Yeah.
upset that I was kissing her earlier, but she's sitting beside me and I'm inebriated.
Oh,
like-
she's very upset about
It's
that.
like you're
whole-
both Rachel and Rachel.
Ducky
Yeah.
Ducky will sit on my lap and then bite my forearms because she's sitting on my lap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ducky
So she's
likes
me
to,
on my period.
Ducky
Yeah.
likes to come eat my hair.
I had a cat that used to do that, and then she would get mad at you, and she would wrap her claws around and dig them into your forehead and then bite your head.
Nice.
Ugh.
It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that this was such a chore for you.
That sounds like an outside
But
cat.
yeah. She
Also-
also, Ducky loves to, one, crawl in the trash,
Like the trash cat she is.
and two,
She's not
chew
cute enough
on...
to be a raccoon.
Is
She
part
loves to
trash
chew on
panda?
plastic bags, especially if they're full of bread.
Hey, so
My
I bet
cat does that.
I bet you guys are wondering who that other feminine voice that isn't me
Yeah.
is. We are breaking up this sausage fest.
That's right.
We have a guest.
We have a guest.
Her name is Elizabeth.
You have heard her before in one of our kidnapped sketches.
Yes.
Yes.
The
From last season.
second one, to be specific.
Played Alexa, right?
Yeah.
You
something-
basically,
Yeah.
You played
GLaDOS.
GLaDOS.
Yeah,
from
you were like a
Portal.
GLaDOS robot.
So Elizabeth, tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm still waiting on the royalty check from that skit.
That got lost
That's
on its way
in
to
the mail,
mail.
and you're
Okay.
gonna get it any day now.
Any
Yep.
day now, great. My car payment's due.
We'll Venmo it to you.
It had an
Eventually.
accident. By accident, I meant it got introduced to the shredder.
Oh,
You
okay.
didn't know that was slave labor?
All right, now I have to walk out now. God damn, guys. So,
Door slam.
I don't know. What do you want when you say tell you about myself?
You
want-
were born a poor black child.
I was.
What's
No.
your sign?
No, worse.
Is it in retrograde?
Worse.
How do you murder people?
Well, my,
Ice pick. Ice
my,
pick. Ice pick.
my favorite is poison.
Hey.
I
Nice.
know you're laughing, but I threatened to poison my dad when I was 15.
Wow.
I believe it.
Hardcore.
No context.
so-
Let's keep rolling.
We know you from comedy.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are another lady who does comedy in town,
Yes, ma'am.
which is not super common for Huntsville, so that's very exciting.
There's what, 3 of us active right now?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever a new comic comes into town, if they're like not a straight white dude, I'm like, keep going.
There was a first timer female comic at Coppertop last week.
Ooh.
I hope she's there again because
Oh, yeah.
she was actually pretty good.
She was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Copper Talk's one of our open mics. Kind of like the dirty open mic.
But yes, I've been doing comedy since June.
Yes.
Cool.
Awesome.
Like most people, it was an ill-advised decision instead of going to actual therapy. But somehow it's panning out.
Oh, as of the recording of this episode, that's about 7 months.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're already getting booked on stuff and
Yes,
Exciting.
doing stuff, and you're a Supernatural fan, so
I am.
Yeah.
I tried to watch it the first year it was out as it was airing. I was very excited because Jensen Ackles was in Dark Angel with Jessica Alba in the second season of Dark Angel, and I fell in love with that character that he played. So I was like, yes, I want to see this. I was currently staying with my previous in-laws before they were officially my in-laws, and the White Lady episode happened, and they're like, this is too sexy. We can't watch this.
The white lady episode was too sexy.
Because she was on top of Jared Padalecki kissing him.
Oh, the sex her in-laws have is boring.
Boring. Somehow they had 6 kids.
I want to hear their opinions on the Sears catalog.
Wow. Yeah.
So anyway,
Did you know that because of the internet, you can go straight to Sears.com? Yeah. Thank you, the voice of Tina from Bob's Burger. I'll look up your name later for like the second half of the episode.
So I actually lost touch with it for several years, and then after I had my second son, not my second son, my second child, my first son, I was nursing, and nursing sessions, the La Leche League does not tell you this, they take for fucking ever. So I would get to watch about half to 2/3 of an episode on Netflix while I was nursing, and that was 5 years ago. So I went through
all of it,
all of the current library on Netflix, which was 7 seasons, while I was nursing.
Yeah, now it's 1,000,000 billion.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So that's how I got into Supernatural.
So what do you like about the show?
The sci-fi fantasy genre is just one of my favorite genres, especially for visual media. And again, Jared Padalecki.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Yep.
I get it.
No, I keep getting them confused. I'm sorry.
Jensen
Jensen
Ackles.
Ackles is what I meant.
There you go.
I also
There you
get
go.
that.
Also, yeah.
Sorry.
Goddamn squirrel over moose.
I am horrible.
It's not a competition. They're both very attractive.
No, they're not.
Whoa. Hang on.
Wow, okay. Are we going to fight about
Yeah.
this?
We are about to fight
I am
about
horrible
this.
with names. The
We've
guy
got,
that
like-
plays Dean was in Dark Angel. I
Yeah.
loved that when I
Yes.
was a
Yeah, Jensen
teenager.
Ackles is his name.
Yes.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
so one of the
Jensen
very
Ackles.
first
If you
reviews
leave
we
your
got of
wife
this
or our
podcast-
Polly, I am open.
He doesn't listen to this piece of shit.
Don't destroy my hopes and dreams. You're already not paying me.
It's,
You had dinner.
you're drinking wine that true you bought, but whatever.
We're allowing you to drink that in our establishment. I don't even
invited
live here.
you
I'm
to the
calling it ours.
Halfcast cave.
Oh no.
There's a skull here.
Okay.
It's very nice.
I'm sorry. That's very ungrateful of me.
You are right.
Damn right. Jesus Christ.
So one of the very first reviews we got about the show is that somebody was expecting it to be just 2 hours of 3 giggling teenagers
Yeah.
arguing about who was
yeah,
more attractive,
yeah.
Sam and Dean.
You know
and
what?
is this that episode?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Yep,
you
it
finally
is
got
now.
it. Except it's not 2 teenagers. It's one lady in her 20s and one lady in her 30s.
And 2 dudes in their 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd fuck squirrel.
Oh,
mean,
Ben,
Moose and squirrel.
He's got a purty mouth.
Damn right.
Oh, gross. Y'all.
is that the gayest thing I've heard Ben say?
No,
No.
not by a long
No,
shot.
yeah, you're
long
right.
shot.
That's not true.
Not even close.
I heard much gayer stuff.
I think that's the gayest thing Ben has said on the podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Has he talked
Hey.
about wanting to fuck Jensen Ackles
Ben.
before?
Ben,
I don't
do
think
not
so.
gay bait. God damn it. Stop it.
We already have Supernatural doing that enough. We don't need you too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's where I learned.
I don't think it's queer
How
baiting
much
with
it-
Ben, because true, he isn't queer, but I do truly believe that if given the chance, he would probably not totally say
He
no.
could get me drunk
Okay.
enough at that brewery.
I
but-
just
Yeah.
That
want to
brewery he
know
just opened.
2 things. 1, how much of this laughter are you going to have to edit out?
Oh,
of
none.
it.
2,
None.
is
0%.
it bad if I quote one of Tom's jokes?
As long as you credit him.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Tom Hand says that if you've had enough whiskey, it doesn't matter about the gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A hole's a hole if a hole's a hole.
Oh, please. Jensen definitely tops.
Some
like,
say
let's
it.
be real.
Some say that whiskey is its own gender.
The 3 genders.
The 3 genders.
Male, female,
and
whiskey.
Oh, there's another bottle of wine.
The
Let's
3
rock and
the
roll.
3
We're
genders.
already here.
The 3 genders.
Oh my
Scotch,
God.
whiskey, bourbon.
Yeah. Here.
Where did you get those? From the gender tree? From the gender barrel.
Yeah. What's the joke that there are 63 active genders in the United States alone?
I've never heard that before, but I love it. 3 active genders. Sounds like serial killers.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about Canada. It's really fucked up there. Everyone talks about how Canadians are so nice, but the cold does things to people. Man.
Okay, so
Maple syrup is its own gender.
guys,
The 4 genders.
hey guys.
Okay,
It's been 22 minutes and Ari has questions. Sorry.
So, the 4 genders aside, bourbon, whiskey, scotch, maple syrup,
And Tim Hortons.
and Tim Hortons. That's 5.
And Wayne Gretzky.
the phrase A.
Canadian bacon.
Canadian. You know, I actually went to Montreal once.
Grizzly bears.
You get 63.
Dude, okay. I went to Montreal, and let me tell you, even the dogs were sexy. Literally,
Wow.
everybody we ran into, the babies, the old people, they were all fucking hot as shit. And then we ran across a gay pride parade willy-nilly. It was a great time. Anyways.
That actually does sound amazing.
Okay, are
It
you
was
gonna
beautiful.
overflow the
I
cup?
was gonna wait until you said hey.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna
Oh,
give me
man.
a normal amount.
No, my grandfather would do that all the time. He'd be like, okay,
Ben
say
looked
when.
so offended when I said that.
He would say, all right, say when. And then if you didn't literally say when, then he would just keep pouring it
going.
and let the milk fucking overflow.
And see, we know where he got it from.
Yeah, now you know where I got it from.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have some questions for you, as is our tradition here on
Okay.
Hey Assbutt, Drunkcast Volume 2.
Okay.
And these are just questions we ask all our guests. So, just answer how you want. Willy-nilly. Will's the nils.
Alrighty.
So, if you could live in any horror movie universe, which one would you want to live in?
None of them.
Not a single one?
No. Okay, so this is my thing
like
about
this answer.
horror movies. Most horror movies are kind of based, especially the newer ones, on this concept of hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
And zombie movies in particular embody this, and I have done some research before to find out why our society was so obsessed with zombie movies, and it's because it's cyclical. We go through these periods where a generation feels like everything is hopeless because of how badly things are, or how bad things are. I'm sorry, grammar goes out the window when you've been drinking.
See, I like how bad this generation has it that George Romero just fucking died.
Yeah. So
He was like, even zombies will not fix this.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I do not like the concept of no hope.
Yeah.
There are horror movies that I do like to watch, that I will watch. Aliens, which is, yes, sci-fi, but it's also sci-fi horror.
Oh, it absolutely
Yeah.
is.
100%.
It's still very hopeless. There is not a single horror movie that I can say,
That, gives you hope.
yeah, I wouldn't want to live there.
that is kind of inherent with horror movies. You don't want a horror movie to give you hope, because then that would just ruin the
horror
the horror aspect of it.
But, the question, though, is, which horror movie would you want to live? Which horror movie world would you want to live
and your
in?
answer is none, because
None.
you don't want to live in a hopeless society.
Right,
Gotcha.
exactly.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Have you not seen Alien 3? As dark as most of that movie is, the ending is pretty fucking uplifting.
And then they go and make more Alien movies, and no, they're just not.
None of them take place before Alien 3, though.
Okay, I haven't seen anything after Alien 3. Alien 3 actually is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Especially because that's the one, right, where Ridley develops a relationship with the little girl that survives in that
That's
one colony.
Aliens.
I thought that was
Alien-
Alien.
No.
No, Alien, she's on the ship by herself, and she manages to save the
Oh,
cat.
No,
Right.
Right. it
that's
is Alien
Aliens
2.
is.
I don't remember what's in
Aliens,
Aliens 3,
you know,
but it's
multiple
been
aliens.
a decade
Yeah.
since I saw.
Alien 3 is the one where she crash lands onto the prison planet that
No,
doubles as an iron.
that's still no hope, because she has to die at the end to save everybody.
There's two different endings. There's one ending where she survives. There is the canon ending where she has to jump into the fucking
Right.
skill thing.
I have not seen the other one, but even if I had, it's not canon. So it's still It's still hopeless. And I know nobody makes it out of this life alive, but she does not
I
live.
do.
She does not live to a ripe old age
Yeah.
and have the things that I think of as a fulfilling life. And for my life, something that would be fulfilling is being able to watch my grandchildren run around my front yard and just die peacefully in my sleep. with a
How
golden gray.
old was Ridley when she died?
Technically, she was reborn, but she was mid-30s, I think.
That's a pretty good run.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, 35. fuck it.
Hey, you're a decade
very
away from that, but I'm
hopeless
5 years away from that. Okay. So no, I do think that overall the series of Aliens is still very hopeless.
Yeah. No, actually, on the sliding scale of like sci-fi optimism, Alien is often brought up as the pessimistic side of that scale.
Yeah.
So I definitely get that.
I feel like a lot of sci-fi. Well, I mean,
Star Trek.
Star Trek is the optimistic sci-fi, but there's not a lot of optimistic sci-fi.
I would say Star Wars.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess so.
They keep making new fucking stories, so obviously things do get bad again.
Yeah.
Right.
But the fact that there are always people who are willing to stand up and say no it's a very hopeful thing for me.
That's true.
I actually have a horror manga suggestion for you then.
Since I don't like hopelessness?
Yes.
So it's hopeful at the end, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Wait.
And I haven't taught, it's not Junji Ito because
okay. I was going to
that
say.
is just totally hopeless.
Yeah, there's no hope in a Junji Ito.
Which you should still check out because he is very good and very scary.
Yeah.
And you said you don't like sexual violence in horror movies, so there is that aspect.
Yes.
So Junji Ito does not have that.
Yeah, unless you find Spiral sexy.
That
people are filling holes.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but in the most horrific way.
So
this hole was made for me.
Go ahead and tell us about it.
You don't even goddamn get the joke, and it's goddamn funny.
Well, she does get the joke because I explained it to her.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
not just that, but in the religious cult I grew up in, there's this concept of two people fitting together.
Oh, yeah,
My
I know
vagina was made for somebody specific, so it just cracks me up on that level.
Yeah, keys and locks. Keys and locks.
Yes,
Yep.
It's like, I'm sorry, we're the only mammals without those.
Keys and bagels with salmon.
Keys and bagels with salmon.
Was I too ace for that metaphor?
No, that was amazing. I love that. That's even better.
I mean, if you want to get really gross with the illusions there.
Also, Elizabeth grew up in a religious cult. I feel like we just casually dropped
Yeah,
that
we gotta make sure everybody knows I am religiously traumatized, but I am still religious somehow.
Her family was pretty much just the cult from Bubble Boy.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit.
Okay,
Actually, more
so
like the parents from
my
Bubble Boy.
horror manga suggestion, which you still might want to stay away from because there is some it's very sexual, but it's.
Wait.
Do you know what I'm
Keep
talking
going.
about?
Just roll with it.
It's called Yureto,
Okay.
which is about, I might be pronouncing that wrong, I probably am. It's set in the 50s, and it centers on a trans man and his, partner, who also, huge spoilers for Yureto, they end up together in the end.
Okay.
As they try to find a treasure that some asshole left in a haunted clock tower.
Okay.
It's very dark. There's a lot of murder.
Right.
Because it's being haunted by this murderer, who everyone thinks is a ghost at first, and then maybe. Mm-hmm. And then, but it's very good. And it's one of the most, it's weird how it's kind of pro-LGBT, but it's kind of beautiful in that as well. One of the characters is a gay man, a cisgendered gay man, and there's this scene he has to the end where another character finds out he's gay and basically is like, you're disgusting, and he's like, fuck you. I want to create a world where I can feel safe and where people like me can feel safe. So you go fuck yourself.
Right.
There's still a lot of sexual aspects to it, and one of the downsides is that the trans man is very sexualized in a very feminine way, but it's a very good... I still enjoy it, and it might be something we're checking out.
Do me a favor and text it to me because I'm not gonna remember that you said this because I have a bad memory when I'm sober.
I get that.
Okay.
All right. Next question. Do you have a trope that you like and tropes that you dislike?
I do. Okay. So my favorite trope is this trope where a sober character falls in love with a character while they're drunk. And then when that character sobers up, they don't remember any of the interactions. My thing about it that I love is that while you're drunk, your guards tend to come down. And so basically, this sober character is falling in love with somebody that is letting their guard down, and then they don't remember that they've shown this vulnerable side of themselves.
Travis, I can feel what you're about to say.
Am I not facing the microphone enough?
Wait.
Inside baseball.
This is the plot to Yuri on Ice.
I know, but that's why she made me watch that one before she made me watch Princess Jellyfish, because we had this conversation before.
Yes, we did. I found out she liked this before Yuri on Ice.
Yes.
Right.
So it's still one of my favorite tropes. My least favorite trope is when a character falls in love with another character after that character does socially conditioned, demanded things to fit in. So, for example, I present pretty femme in general, but I do things that are very non-femme. So if a character fell in love with me after I started wearing heels and makeup all of the time, like I hate this trope where the girl or sometimes
like
the guy gets a makeover.
Yeah, it's like the thing where it's like they take her glasses off and let her hair down and wipe the paint off of her face.
Super heavy air quotes on this.
Yeah.
And makeover.
She's all that.
Yes, she's all that. I hate that. I hate that. Like, I actually like the reverse a lot, where I'm not that attracted to you, and then I see you because those things really
I do
are
like
guards.
that. I like the thing where it's like, you're attractive when you're all like made up and wearing a dress and high heels and that. But now I've just seen you in like a gray blob of sweatshirts and your hair is a mess, and you're even more beautiful.
Exactly.
Oh,
like,
that's so sweet.
I need to know.
You adorable bastard.
You adorable son of a bitch.
And I think for me, like, the basic spirit behind that particular trope is the same one behind falling in love with a drunk person, except the drunk person doesn't know that they let their guards down.
Right.
So that I just love that.
What's that Cameron Diaz and Ashton Kutcher movie where they go to Vegas and get married? What's that? You know what I'm talking about,
Is it
right?
Just Married?
Yeah, it's Just Married. Yeah. It's that same idea. Yeah.
I haven't seen that in like 15 years.
I like the trope where, because I do believe that, like, even though I don't believe that people really change for other people, I do believe that when you love somebody, it can help you show off your best self and can inspire you to be a better person. So I like the, hey, I was in love with you, so I did, like, better my life because of you, but then you find out that the other person loved you before you even did that. Like, that's a romantic trope that I like,
Those
too.
are, like, my favorite low-key fanfics.
Yes! High-key, low-key, love those fics.
Yes.
Girl.
Yes.
You're invited to the special episode where we talk about fanfiction, so just be ready. That's happening.
Yeah.
I love fanfiction. I love fanfiction.
Girl, yes!
Yes!
This is why I'm so happy to break up this goddamn sausage fest.
See, she's just trying to fill up so she has enough people to make that recording.
Well,
I have enough people. I could do it by myself.
girl.
Yeah.
For 3 hours. Okay?
Ari could do a 3-hour lecture on it.
Yes.
So.
I am planning my dissertation around fanfiction, alright?
That's actually one of our higher Patreon tiers. Is Ari will just call you on the phone and lecture you about something.
I love
a topic of your choice.
Yeah.
How much money do I have to give you guys for that to happen?
Well, you get it for free
$1,000.
all the time.
No.
I think Ari and I lecture each other a lot.
Yeah, you do.
No, Travis
One of
said-
the first times you were over here, she gave you her 45-minute Sylvia Plath lecture.
This is true.
Which I do have planned out.
Yeah,
And-
because she'd given it to me before.
Okay, now I just don't feel special anymore.
See,
No, baby,
You've
you
shared
are
it-
special.
You shared it with him before. Ari.
No,
Oh my
baby.
God.
Girl, he's lying. I didn't
That-
mean it.
you're the only lecturee for her.
Seriously, you are. I mean, sure, I also have a podcast where I lecture people, but neither here nor there. You're on it right now. It's fine. I'm going to throw Ben to the wolves. Did you know that he found out what Destiel was the other day? And he was like, fuck this. Destiel is fucking stupid. I hate it. Doesn't make any sense.
I didn't say it was stupid. I said it was creepy.
Okay.
Creepy. Oh, that's even worse. Keep going, Ben. Keep going.
On one level, I do agree with him because of the power dynamic.
Yes.
Oh.
See, because it's like Castiel is like a teenager, and when I say teenager, I'm not saying 17 plus.
He's a male example of the born sexy yesterday trope.
Okay,
Yeah.
he is.
Oh, we talked about that before.
We have, but I would actually like to say that I take it from the other side of Ben because of the line, I pulled you out of perdition and I can throw you back.
Yes. Which, spoilers.
I'm sorry.
For Travis.
I'm not going to remember.
Okay.
There's 1,000 episodes of the show. I'm not going to remember.
No, that I actually take it from the opposite side.
Yeah.
I do understand that, yes, Castiel is a born yesterday perfect example of that trope.
Yeah, born sexy yesterday.
But he still does outpower Dean because Dean is a human.
Yeah.
Castiel is an angel.
Yeah.
And Castiel has threatened to throw him
Or
back
Cass
into...
is.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He's threatened to throw Dean back into hell before.
Yes.
See, that's not my problem with
I just remember.
I understand what your problem with it is.
Ari, Ben, and
do
I
take it
have
from
a
the other
group
side,
chat
though. Okay.
where we talk about like podcast stuff, and Ben just one day is like, "Fuck Dustiel," and I was like, "Oh,
And
there we go."
Travis and I were like, so if we're gonna leave Ben to the wolves on this,
Yeah.
right? Then we're gonna leave Ben out to dry. Travis and I love Destiel.
No.
I already fixed
Whoa,
all
hang
that.
on.
Wait,
Whoa. Hang on. Let's hold up now.
Travis' favorite ship is Destiel.
Let's not go. I don't even have a favorite ship right now.
Bubbling. It's those characters from My Little Pony, and it's Destiel.
First of all, Finceline.
Whoa, Finceline?
Yeah,
really?
I'm a Finceline
Wow.
shipper.
Okay.
If you're gonna throw me to the wolves, let me get myself out from under this goddamn bus.
Nope.
Let me tell you what.
Yeah, first of all, we threw him under the bus, and he got run over by the bus, and now we're just letting the wolves eat him.
Yeah.
Here's
We're
my
gonna talk
goddamn
over
problem with Destiel.
What's that?
Is that Dane? It would be like if Dane was fucking a 14-year-old girl, because like he was like
The
training
born
somebody.
sexy yesterday trope.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do agree that there can be that aspect, but
Yeah.
then on the other side of it, Castiel is thousands, if not more, years old.
Yeah, but
Dean is 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dean's also born sexy yesterday to cast. Okay, so real quick, we keep throwing the phrase born sexy yesterday around.
We're going to put this in the show notes that
we are-
they never
we are-
actually
there-
fucking
We are
do.
not going to put this in
There
the
are
show
no
notes.
show notes.
We are never doing show notes.
Show notes died at the end of season
Look it up
1.
yourself. There's this video by this guy on YouTube called Pop Culture Detective where he talks about this upsetting trope he's realized in a lot of sci-fi works.
Yes.
Where usually a very attractive woman is, for some reason,
Mentally and emotionally
on the level of like a child. So maybe she's a cyborg who just gained consciousness, or a clone. Think
Olivia Munn's character in the new
Tron.
Yes, the new Tron.
Yeah.
or
Melfina from Outlaw Star.
Layla from
That
Fifth
was-
Element.
Mila, yeah.
The Miranda character from Planet of the
Apes.
or Big Forbidden Planet.
Also, that wasn't Olivia Munn in
It was Olivia
Tron
Wilde.
Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, Olivia Wilde.
Guys, I'm terrible at names.
I'm
Well,
looking
You're
up
great,
no-
baby.
no,
You're
there's
doing
more
great.
Wilde.
Don't worry about it.
Like,
But Cass kind of fits that trope where, yes, he is physically in the body of an adult, and yes, he is in his angel form actually billions of years old.
yeah.
But mentally and emotionally, he is still very much a child. So while there is
Right.
nothing wrong with him having sex with adults, in a way, he's still kind of not ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is why, yes, I understand why you're uncomfortable with that. I actually, confession time, I'm also not a huge fan of Destiel. That being said, it's not because of the Born Sexy Yesterday thing, because I'm actually a huge fan of Megstiel.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
Which
okay.
has the same problems,
It
but
does
Now
have the
we're
same
getting-
problems.
I don't care.
Except
Now
the
we're getting
power,
into some
For
spoilers.
me, Megstio
yeah, 'cause
does
at
not
least
have...
Meg can almost defend herself.
Exactly.
Yeah, whereas
exactly.
Dean could be obliterated by Cass in 2.5 seconds.
Exactly. And so, yes, there is the emotional and mental aspect to the Destiel that is a Born Yesterday aspect, but there's very much an abusive power dynamic in a Castiel dynamic that's not in a Megstiel dynamic.
Well, and also, at least with Meg, because she is an evil character, I'm already like, yeah, I get it. You're evil. But with Dean, because I expect him to be the hero and a good guy, it's more squicky for me, I think.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
That being said, if you ship Destiel, you're not a bad person, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, it's the most popular ship the show has. Go live your life. We don't care.
Yes, I'm not going to judge you.
Yeah.
I've got a bigger
problem. Nor should I.
I've got a bigger problem with Bella and Edward than I do with Destiel.
I have a bigger problem with Wincest than I do with Destiel.
I have a huge problem with Wincest.
Let's not get into that. Let's not get into that.
Anyways,
we're not that kind of podcast.
Well, you're gonna have to because it comes up.
Yeah, we're gonna get fan fiction, special fan fiction.
We are gonna cross that. We're gonna burn that bridge when we get to it.
Yep.
That's what we're gonna do.
We decided a long time ago that we were an anti-incest podcast.
We actually
had that
are.
Discussion.
We're getting close to releasing that episode.
They would not let me be on this podcast because I come from Lacey Springs until I signed paperwork that said, no, I'm not okay.
Are you
incest?
Yeah, are you cool with incest?
Have you suffered from it? Were you happy with that?
No,
I had to answer a whole survey.
Do you go down the hall or down the street?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole question.
Answer yes or no.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Funny thing, since we're talking about incest.
Wow,
this conversation can only be good.
We were not talking about incest, but
incest cast.
Okay, listen.
Yeah, the T enhanced, but
I'm related to most people in Lacey Springs. I swore.
Most everyone in Lacey Springs is related to other people in Lacey Springs.
Exactly. I swore I wasn't gonna date anybody that was from Alabama after that.
There are more people living in Lacey Springs than thumbs.
I
only dated 2 people, and they were from Texas. But I did that whole thing that's popular, because, again, this is actually February right now. I did that whole thing that's popular where they do the gender switch photo to show you what you would look like if you were the opposite gender.
Oh, yeah.
The opposite gender looked a whole fucking lot like my ex-husband. And I'm like, you know what? I would have been better off dating somebody from Hartsville, Alabama than I would have been marrying somebody from Texas in this case.
Oh, God.
Hey, I'm from Texas.
Oh, my ex.
I should have dated you, Travis. Where were you when I was 18?
He was 8.
He was like 14.
Yeah, I was
driving the goddamn cradle over
age.
there. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's so wrong what a woman does, Elizabeth. God.
I'm sorry.
Also, can I say, this conversation...
I'm sorry. I'm a feminist. I don't believe in equality.
Dude, this conversation has been so refreshing. We should break up the sausage fest more often. Usually I have to talk to these knuckleheads.
I know, right?
These fucking assholes. And they're like, yeah, we get it. Monsters are cool. Shut up, Ari.
We love you too, Ari.
Aw, I love you.
Fuck you.
Aww. Baby, it's not even my birthday.
I mean, she is bi.
Hey.
So
did twice.
So speaking about monsters, actually, Elizabeth, there are like creatures and monsters and cryptids out in the world.
Right.
What's your favorite?
they're chilling.
Okay.
And
I have
like a villain.
Chilling like a villain.
I have 2.
You have 2.
No, I'm sorry. I have 3.
You have 3?
She's gonna say she has 4.
Hit us with
Did you write them in your notes?
I did. Because
Surprise alert.
Look,
we actually let our guests prepare for these questions.
And
so.
there's a reason why I graduated magna cum laude.
Oh.
It's not because I can drink enough to get super drunk in the next 60 seconds. I love demigods / gods.
Oh.
I love werewolves.
Nice.
And I love vampires.
Why do you love all 3 of those things?
Okay. Most of it is a power dynamic because I am a sub.
Oh, so you want to have sex with a god, a werewolf, and a vampire?
Or
my god.
Okay,
if
you could have sex with any god from Greek mythology, which one?
From Greek mythology.
Don't say Zeus. That's a cop out. He has sex with everyone.
No, they're all
Zeus is just Tom.
They're all super toxic. But if
absolutely.
If you ask me from my favorite fandom, that's
You're
a
gonna
different.
say Loki,
Okay.
and I already know that answer.
Actually, no.
Shots.
Woo! Shocking surprise.
Acheron or Styx. Check out Sherilyn Kenyon. She gets a little bit cheesy and super fanficky.
All right,
but the character.
You're talking about a romance writer, right?
I am
Yeah.
a sci-fi / fantasy romance writer. Sherilyn Kenyon, Acheron or Styx, both are very complicated characters, have dealt with sexual abuse. Both tend to be very dominant.
And that's what you're into.
I
Nice.
am into doms.
So what about the werewolf and vampire?
The werewolf vampire thing, they're just stronger than humans because that's how they are.
They are.
And
That's
they
true.
eat blood.
I am into maturity. I'm super into maturity.
Oh, so werewolf vampires are like potentially thousands of years old.
Yes, so hopefully they grew some on a personal
You're
level
like,
in thousands of
Are
years.
you a vampire who could do their taxes without H&R Block?
But definitely not Edward Cullen.
That's fair. He
But
wants to date a teenager. So
I saw this
werewolves have an
post.
extra. Werewolves do have an extra tag. They're warm and I'm always cold.
Oh yeah.
I'm probably a vampire and I
Nice.
don't goddamn know it yet.
I've been described as a personal space heater. I'm a
Yes.
very warm-natured person.
I love warm-natured people, even just for friends.
Are you pretty warm?
Even
Ben?
just for friends
Like you're
that
a
are
warm.
okay with being touched.
My body runs really goddamn hot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like let
mine
me
does
sit as
too.
close to you as possible, even if you're just my friend, but you run warm. Let me sit as close to you as possible because you're warm.
Yeah.
Conversation answers a lot of questions.
I'm cool to the touch. So I need someone
Cold
who
like your
also
heart.
likes being cold. Yeah, as cold as my
Well, see, that's why-
refrigerator-laden heart.
That's why I like being cold because I am so like warm.
Then you'd
That I
love to
need to,
sleep
like,
next to me
cool
in
off.
bed because I am cold as fucking
Yeah, put your
ice.
cold ass feet on my back.
And you know
So
what?
you would rather sleep with a werewolf in the discussion that is werewolf versus vampires. You're like werewolves because they're
Yes.
warm.
Yes, but when we talk about maturity, I'm sorry.
Yeah, stop touching that.
When we talk about maturity versus the other vampires went out, but when we talk about warm versus cold, werewolves went out. But when we talk about power dynamics, gods / demigods went out.
I love that all of your answers of your favorite cryptids are like, I don't know, who do I want to sleep with?
Yeah.
You're not like Bigfoot. Nobody wants
No.
to
Yeah.
fuck
No,
Bigfoot.
you fucking talked about this
Except
on
somebody
the
wants to fuck
podcast
Bigfoot.
before, though.
I'm looking at you,
you've talked
really obscure
about
furries.
viewer stand-ins.
Yes.
I very much enjoy fictions where I can imagine myself in the place of the quote-unquote
The audience
heroine.
surrogate.
Okay.
Yeah. See, this is why we had Elizabeth on. This is the true reason is that she's a fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that concludes the first portion
I
of the
performed
podcast.
lots
Yeah.
of sexual favors to get on here.
No, wait. First,
Travis.
I saw a post on a website that was, it was a screenshot of a thing from Reddit. And the Reddit was a girl who was describing, or I guess a guy, I don't know. It was describing their boyfriend who was really upset about the monarchy dynamic in England. Because it was two English people. And they were like, the current monarch is not should not be the reigning monarch. It should be someone that dates all the way back to like 1732 or something. And
Yeah.
it should be some other person. And it's and like they're always upset about like the monarchy, and they can debate people in depth about what the monarchy should be like in England.
I see they're an antitrust Spurdian.
Hey.
And
That's
they're and the caption on the screenshot was, when your boyfriend is a is a vampire from the 1700s who can't get over the monarchy.
Yes.
Because that's the only situation I can see that being applicable in.
Okay,
Travis.
no. Okay, listen.
Oh, go.
In this 60 quote unquote seconds since our break and we started again,
Yeah.
I am now officially drunk enough to somehow hear the speaker when I wasn't sober enough
Oh.
before, and I need you to explain that to me.
It's because I had the volume on.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it. I feel like I'm
that
in
was my
another
bad.
dimension.
I turned the monitors on so we could listen to something, and then I forgot to turn it off when we stopped.
Okay.
We started recording.
So Travis.
We've gone through, what, 5 bottles of wine at this point?
6
Yeah.
really.
4 of
In a
mine,
minute
the
and a
one
half.
you
Yeah.
had,
A
and
minute
then
and a
the
half.
half bottle of that. So
No, that's a
5
Magnum bottle, so half of that bottle was one bottle.
Okay, so Can I have some of that one, please?
Yes.
Not a whole glass because you don't want me to have a whole glass. But
I'm sorry I haven't said much in the
I'm
past
pretty
minute
drunk.
and a half, but I've been drinking bourbon out of a wine glass.
Oh,
and
God.
stroking
Ari,
black
no.
Yes!
yes! Hopefully we don't sober up before the episode's over once we watch it.
Whoo,
Yeah.
buddy.
That's an hour.
All right.
Okay,
I'm
everybody
sorry.
shut up.
What?
Woo!
Travis.
Yeah.
Stop your Ric Flair woos.
I'm sorry.
Travis.
Uh-huh.
This episode is called Crossroad Blues.
Crossroad Blues.
What's it about?
Yes. Shut the fuck up, Ric Flair, so Mick Foley can talk.
Oh, fuck! Oh, shit! You're bringing the WWE into this?
Hey, be nice to me. I'm not drunk enough to defend myself. I'm not sober. Wait. I said
Shut
that.
up, Mick Foley.
Sam and Dean.
Sam and Dean.
That was really loud. Sam and Dean
Uh-huh.
go to a concert.
Uh-huh.
They go to a concert in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In a stadium called the Cotton Bowl. And they see a whole bunch of great music. Acts such as John Mayer.
That's
And-
not blues, is it really?
And Jeff Beck. And lots of other great musicians. And then they see the headliner, Eric Clapton.
Ben just took his microphone off the stand.
And he plays the song Crossroads. And that's the episode. It's just the Crossroads like 2008 DVD.
Just a forewarning. Just
I knew it was
forewarning
a
to
thing.
anybody
Britney
out
Spears
there.
movie?
If they ever invite
It's
you.
about Britney. Okay. Can I answer
Wait,
the
is that the
last
name of the
question?
Britney Spears movie too? Crossroads?
What happens during this episode?
What's that?
Britney Spears.
Oh, okay.
Zoe Saldana. That really religious chick from Orange is the New Black. Decide that they are going to go on a road trip together at the cusp of adulthood.
Oh my
They
God.
just graduated high school.
Wait,
And one of them has sex with a felon.
is this
This
Listen,
monster?
guys.
is that the sister of the traveling
listen
pants?
to me. If these three ever
It's me,
invite you
girl.
on this podcast and tell you that they are going to let you have alcohol, don't listen to them.
Don't listen to Elizabeth.
Yeah.
She's drunk off her ass.
Don't worry.
She doesn't know
There's-
what she's saying.
There's a reason for that.
It's fine.
See, here's my
We have blankets you can sleep on.
here's my description of the episode.
What's that?
Is that Sam and Dean are just combined into one young lady in Florida who
Ooh.
meets Charlize Theron, who starts killing dudes.
Wait.
Christina Ricci?
See,
I have a
somehow I
different-
remember enough, even though I'm drunk, to know that all of them are goddamn wrong, but sober
That's-
enough.
I have.
No, wait.
Drunkcast Part 2 is
Sober
going
enough
great.
to know they're wrong, drunk enough not to remember why.
I have a different description.
Am I gonna
Okay,
Okay.
wait. Travis has a different description.
Sam and Dean.
Wait, let me drink this sip of wine, and
Okay.
then you can make me snort.
All right. Sam and Dean go to the local animal shelter, and they adopt a dog.
Oh, I love this. I love this.
Is this Marley and me?
And that's what. Yeah, it's gonna be
And
Marley.
then the dog dies.
And then the
Very
dog
sad.
dies, and then everyone's sad. Yeah.
Okay, I have another one.
What's that?
Okay,
Sam and Dean
okay,
are Britney Spears.
okay.
Both of them.
Both of them are Britney Spears.
Bros at the same time.
no.
At the
Are
same
now
time.
are
At
they
the same
actually
time.
Britney Spears, or are they like Derek Barry and they're just
No,
Britney Spears
no.
impersonators?
More important question: Are they
No.
2,7,000 Britney and Spears or pre or post?
They
No.
are pre Britney Spears,
Pre.
Leave Me Alone.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, here's the thing.
You know when that guy, when Britney Spears, Leave Me Alone, they
Yeah.
are pre that.
Okay.
Leave her alone.
No, here's the thing. Dean is Baby One More Time. Sam is Toxic.
Hey.
Sam is
Oh.
No,
lucky.
listen,
Sam
listen
is
Oh,
to
yeah,
me.
Sam is
If
lucky.
Dean is baby one more time, we've just stepped up the Sam sex factor. Or no, the
Oh.
Dean sex factor. I can't speak. I'm so drunk. You guys
Anyways,
gave me
on that
5
and
bottles
on
of
that
that-
note,
You gave yourself
you-
5
you
bottles
did
of
that
wine.
to
You
you.
did that to you.
You did that to you.
Like,
Peer pressure.
We didn't
I claim peer pressure.
We didn't have to
I'm
keep
not
drinking bottles.
responsible for any of my actions. I'm still a 13-year-old girl
You're
and
the
peer
one.
pressure.
You're the one
You
who
would have
kept
a
getting up
13-year-old
and going to the
girl,
fridge and getting white Zinfandel out of the fridge. You did that.
Y'all
did
drink
this to
it.
us.
Y'all drink it.
I have a very important side question.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Is anybody gonna be offended if I finish this bottle of bourbon?
No.
Go for it.
No.
The Winchester bottle of bourbon.
I was really hoping you were
Eventually.
just going to drink that straight from the
wait,
bottle.
that's the Winchester bottle? I need
Yeah.
a taste of it before you finish it.
Try.
Yeah, see, that's the
There's
Winchester
not a taste
bourbon.
left in that goddamn bottle.
I
And
am
on
drunk.
that note, part 1 is over. Let's
Yeah.
begin part 2.
And we're back.
We made it.
Ben is shirtless.
Ben is shirtless.
I just ate something really spicy.
I'm shirtless.
Elizabeth
You are
is a little
technically
bit
shirtless.
nauseous,
Elizabeth is nauseous.
despite walking around the block twice.
Yes, we tried to sober up a little bit.
Yeah.
Drunkcast Volume 2 is going strong. I say
Yeah.
as I'm holding a
It's
glass
definitely
of wine.
going. It's
Very
going
drunk.
more. It's definitely more organized than Drunkcast episode 1,
Drunkcast Volume 1.
which happened mostly without planning.
We
It was really Drunkcast Volume 1 was mostly we went to a Mexican restaurant and had too much tequila.
And
That's
then
what happened.
this episode is basically that the guest host prioritized work over catching up on this season.
The
You're doing a good job, girl.
No, Drunkcast episode 2 is our guest brought us 4 bottles of wine,
and we drank 6.
and then we
one of the
drank them all.
co-hosts provided 2 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
And,
We've knocked out 6 bottles of wine and how
Yeah.
much bourbon?
and then the other co-host, one of the other co-hosts provided bourbon.
Yeah.
And then one of the other co-hosts is shirtless.
Yeah.
So
Like-
we're living our lives.
We were just
Nope,
like,
not
And about to be
pantsless
pantsless.
too. Not
this
pantsless.
is the best episode to be fucked and horny.
Exactly.
Wow.
Because the music is sexy.
Yes,
But
it
I
is.
think
Good
Travis
job,
is
Travis.
you're doing the episode recap?
Yeah,
So
sure.
we're all
Okay.
gonna shut the fuck up while you
All
do
right.
that. Have
I'm
fun.
zipping my lips.
So, cold open. We are in a blues establishment, Greenwood, Mississippi. This is like old times. Blues music was just coming out there. What was his name?
Robert Johnson.
Robert Johnson is performing in a black blues club, and he's having a time. Everyone's doing good. And then Robert Johnson is like, oh shit, there's some shit going on outside the window. So,
Why is it gotta be a black club?
because there was all black people there.
It was
And this was during
prohibition.
like segregation.
Yeah,
time.
this was like during
Segregation
segregation
and
time.
prohibition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, no,
So it was not a
okay.
white establishment, no.
Alright.
Also, black people invented blues music,
Y'all
so
took-
Thank
fight
you.
me.
Y'all took that way too goddamn serious. With the goddamn joke. I meant the fucking baby.
Well,
Hey,
2 of us are
hey.
a little bit inebriated at
Ben.
the very
Alright,
least.
everyone shut the
You're
fuck
too
up,
shirtless
Travis.
to have an opinion.
Fuck you.
But so,
Everyone knows the episode
Tits
uniform.
out, quotes out, opinions out.
Everyone knows the episode uniform is a hat, nothing else.
Okay.
So Robert Johnson sees some shit like crawling around outside the window. He's like, oh fuck, I gotta get out of here. So much like a white person in a horror movie, he walks outside and is like, what's this shit going on? And then runs into a barn, and then promptly, like, to ongoers, he has a seizure and dies. And we're like, oh fuck. And then cut to Sam and Dean are attending a concert in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Near a casino. No, Sam and Dean hear about this guy, I think this architect, who just kind of died or something. Mysteriously. And so they're going to check it out, and somehow they connect it to black dogs and selling their soul to the devil. And they're in Mississippi, and they learn about hoodoo and all kinds of stuff. And they figure out that it's like hellhounds, and it's related to people making deals with devils or demons at Crossroads. And then they once they figure it out, they go confront like one of the guys they know has made a deal with the devil about why he did it, and he did it for like making his wife, who was dying of cancer, live longer. But so Sam stays with the guy to like protect him from the Hellhounds, and then Dean goes to confront the demon, and the demon is like, "Hey, Dean Winchester, I know all about you and your father." And Dean is like, "You know about my father?" And then they make out, and Dean is like, "Okay, well,
Gotcha,
that was nice, but now I know I tried to exercise you, but we're cool, right?" And then Dean is like, "All right, well, okay, bye." And then Sam is like, "All right, well, the Hellhounds are gone." And then Sam and Dean are like, "Well," Sam is like, "Hey, Dean, you didn't like get tempted by that demon to make a deal to bring Dad back, right?" And Dean is like, "Oh yeah, sure, I totally didn't get tempted by that demon."
He doesn't even answer. He turns on rock music plays.
Yeah. And then the episode ends, and that's all I can really remember.
May I just point out
It ends
that
with
I'm
how
so
tomorrow's going to
glad-
start for us.
I'm so glad you guys watch it with the captioning.
Yes.
Not just because I'm drunk, but because I'm also almost blind in one eye when I'm sober.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have to watch shit with the captioning on.
Well, Zan, like we watch shit
and
with the
the
captioning
volume
on,
on.
so I can like tell what's
Yeah.
going on.
See,
And
It's
also
funny
partly
because-
for entertainment purposes.
yeah,
See,
for
The
my deaf
captioning
ass.
is also wrong.
Yeah, the caption
Yes,
is
it
wrong
is.
half the
Yeah.
time,
It is, but like.
which is amazing.
So I have a vision problem, but I also have a little bit of a hearing problem because my dad worked in a factory when I was growing up, so the TV was always super goddamn fucking loud.
Yeah.
And I had chronic ear infections anyway. So
Ooh,
I
yeah, that'll
have
fuck your ears up.
exactly. So I have a little bit of time with sight and hearing, so I have to have both of them combined for
Yeah.
whatever reason. Probably adaptive.
Do you
to
usually
be
wear
a-
glasses?
I do usually wear glasses. Right now I am very drunk. My eyes will not cooperate with the like when they make your glasses, they like measure.
Right, yeah, like
Yeah.
the pupil distance and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I have a quote unquote lazy eye.
Ah,
And then I
okay.
have an eye that has almost perfect vision. So the lazy eye doesn't cooperate with the lenses when I'm completely drunk.
Yeah.
So I can't wear my glasses when I'm completely
See,
drunk.
sometimes when I drink, my contacts will dry out, and they'll get so dry that they kind of get cloudy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh god, I can't see anything.
That happens too.
Like, that happened to me one time, and I was in like a public place, and I couldn't do anything about it. So I went to a bathroom and rinsed out my contacts with water, which made them less cloudy, but then made my eyes super red. So then everyone thought I was like crossfaded in public.
Can I tell you why that happened?
I was trying to sit in a place and just be chill, and people kept walking up to me going, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine."
Can I tell you why that happened?
Why?
Most tap water is mineralized to
Yes.
make up for the fact that we don't get all the minerals we need out of our diet.
Yeah, like fluoride.
Exactly. That dries the goddamn hell out of your
Freaking
eyes.
making the frogs gay.
Exactly.
Make the frogs gay!
It's probably
The true gay agenda.
it's probably why I don't know whether or not I'm demi or straight.
Because of the fluoride in the water.
Exactly.
I get it.
Exactly.
So
Can
I
I-
just want to say what?
Can I say something remotely fucked up that you can cut out if you want?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
It's turning those amphibians into amphagots.
Fuck you.
Hey, Elizabeth, since you're over there,
Sorry.
look to your left
My left.
on the counter over there. Do you see the thing that says butter?
Is it?
It's like a white cylinder.
Yeah. I know where
So
it is.
you mean this thing?
Yes.
is actually,
Please.
okay.
Please hand that to me.
You're
Thank
welcome. You're welcome, boy.
You're
So I'm going to say this that's neither fucked up nor unrelated to the episode.
okay.
This episode has the best music that
Yeah.
Supernatural has ever
Oh, yeah.
had.
100%.
It
Yes.
has blues in it.
It is
It's got
Robert
Robert Johnson.
Johnson,
One of
blues
the-
god.
One of the founders of the genre.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the fact that they included Robert Johnson was such a smart fucking act. That's one of the things I love about this episode overall. I think is very good.
Yeah.
One of the things I love about it is that they were just like, we're going to talk about Crossroads and not talk about Robert Johnson. What do you take me for, an idiot? And fucking went there.
It was either going to be Robert Johnson or Eric Clapton, and I'm glad they went with Robert Johnson.
The Gopher Dust, the first time I saw this episode, which granted was 10 years ago, I had no idea anything about voodoo or hoodoo. In the ensuing decade since the first time I saw it and now, I know a little bit about hoodoo. I was so excited to see that incorporation.
Well, I'm going to say this. There's hoodoo and voodoo are mentioned in the episode. This is actually like a complaint / praise I have for Supernatural. I love voodoo mythology.
Yes.
Like, Baron Samedi is one of my favorite mythological figures. I think he's just the bee's knees. And so I would kind of love it if Supernatural incorporated more of that. But I don't want a Deva situation to happen with them. Where they just, or a Kitsune
where
situation.
It's just completely wrong.
Yeah, or like totally condensed for the episode.
Right.
Gets that supernatural treatment, which can sometimes be really good and interesting and sometimes be very bad. So I'm actually glad that it only gets mentioned in passing. Hoodoo gets mentioned a couple of times, but then it is gone.
Yeah.
So my level of education on the subject, you're out of my depth.
Yeah.
Right
and
there.
like, one of the only reasons it gets mentioned is because this episode takes place in Mississippi.
It takes place in Mississippi.
And like, if it had taken place in Louisiana, it would have been voodoo instead of hoodoo.
Well, and we're going to talk
like,
about
it's just that like Delta area.
Yes.
Like that Mississippi Delta of the United States has that like hoodoo voodoo.
You know where hot tamales came from? It's fucking there.
Yeah.
Like hot tamales came from that area.
Now
The
that
candy?
fucking surprises me.
No, the tamales, like actual tamales.
Yeah, they're like, what are they? They're some kind of...
They're like pork tamales.
Yeah, and they're wrapped in
Yeah.
what? Corn husks?
Yeah, so tamales are part of Mexican culture.
They're
but
fucking delicious.
But they
they're
came
delicious.
from...
But there's a specific type of like Mississippi tamale that's called a hot tamale, and that's from Mississippi.
Now that actually surprises me because after being married to a Texan who grew up literally on the border,
right,
and at one point in his life was bilingual, I thought hot tamales and tamales in general, period,
they were all
actually
the same.
from Texas and we're all the same. So you just learned me a thing.
I just
and
learned
they're
you
usually
a thing, girl.
So they're like a corn thing, but they're usually wrapped in banana leaves.
Ooh, okay, that has a little bit of a Caribbean influence if they're wrapped in banana leaves.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, these hot tamales from Mississippi are wrapped in corn husks, and they are steamed.
Okay.
They're wrapped in corn husks. I think usually the filling is like pork, and that's why you can find them a lot of like barbecue restaurants, at least around here.
There actually was a Mexican restaurant, up there, not restaurant, a grocery store.
Uh-huh.
Up there where like the antique firehouse is.
Yes.
Pretty close, like not around there, but there was a Mexican grocery store near there, and my dad and I would go there all the time and get those fucking tamales.
Yeah.
And they were so good.
Yep.
They had tamales and sweetbread, and that is all we would go there for. That and canned jalapenos.
My first year of marriage was spent in Albertville, which the Sneed State 10 years ago at the very least. Sneed State teaching faculty referred to as quote-unquote heavy quote-unquote Little Mexico. The main street had at least 2 Mexican grocery stores and 1 Mexican restaurant and 2 Mexican...
See, that sounds like heaven.
That sounds awesome.
No, I'm not arguing that. It was heaven. But 2 Mexican dress shops. So they primarily cater to quinceañeras.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
There's not
one of the grocery stores had a delicatessa, which would be, I guess, the white equivalent to whatever it actually was.
Right.
They had a pig head in the cooler box. Oh. Yes. And I mean, it was so freaking authentic, and it was one of the only places you could go to in Albertville that had pineapple Fanta, which is my favorite soda aside from Dr. Pepper and root beer.
You want to know...
Because I'm a freaking white girl.
You want to know a place about that in Huntsville?
Yeah, I do, because I need to find some freaking pineapple Fanta.
I don't know if they have pineapple Fanta, but they have like a little restaurant, and like they make their own bread.
Make
like,
my day,
stuff
Travis.
like that. It is called El Colonial,
Okay.
Do you know where Chuck E. Cheese is on Jordan Lane?
Goddamn yeah.
And it's
I know what you're
right,
talking about.
and it's right next to that like weird Romans like clothing store.
Yes.
Behind the Romans.
Oh my God, are you serious?
El Colonial.
You are now my favorite redhead in the world.
Go there, and they have amazing food. 2, amazing grocery store. They have sweetbread too. They make their own bread for tortas for their restaurant, and you can buy the bread.
Yes, my
Ugh.
man. Thank you.
Ah!
Okay.
It's only 21
Shit.
minutes.
That wasn't
left.
open, was it?
I was gonna open it, but now I'm not gonna open it. It was a Red
Yeah, no,
Bull,
here,
but
do
it's
it here.
gonna spew everywhere because I dropped
it.
it on
No,
the
check it
floor.
out. It's the 2-tap method. I learned this from Scrubs.
Okay, Scrubs, I'm scared.
Here we go, Steven.
Let's see. Ooh.
See, that's what I do. I do the 2-tap method too.
Yeah.
You know what
Bitch.
you're talking about. Thank you.
Red Bull isn't
I've got
carbonated
a-
the way as much as sodas are, so it doesn't foam as much.
I have a very specific
you.
and important question to ask.
What's
Okay.
that?
How old was Eric Clapton's son before Jimi Hendrix threw
Oh,
him out the window?
I was gonna make a joke about that.
He was like,
I was gonna
Was
make
he
a
10
joke.
years old?
No, he was like 2.
No, okay.
Wait,
so-
I was gonna
Yeah.
make a joke where if they had featured Eric Clapton in the episode and he had made a demon deal, you think he would have done it to bring back his son.
Yeah.
Am I right, bitch? Am I right?
Yes.
Anyways, Robert Johnson is a god. Okay. And I thought the founder of the 27 Club, but actually he's not. But we'll get more into that during the Freak of the Week breakdown.
Yes.
Because Robert Johnson is not the Freak of the Week, but he is included in that discussion.
Yes, he is.
So yeah, I have to say, like, of all the music we've heard so far, by far this episode has my favorite. They play Crossroad
100%.
Blues.
Yes.
Which is
I
just,
They,
I
think
agree.
they play one of the original recordings of it too, because you can hear the surface noise.
Oh, yeah. It is like,
musically,
whoa.
it is one of my favorite episodes.
I think
Yes.
it's pretty rare to find any recording of Robert Johnson without surface noise.
I would just like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would just like to
So-
point
I mean,
out.
because it was so long ago that you had to record directly onto vinyl.
he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
he died in 1938.
Yeah.
So this would have been before that.
Absolutely.
So
So,
yeah,
1937.
one of my favorite fun facts
But I-
about Hellhounds,
yeah,
because we have spoilers on this, right?
yes.
Okay, one of my favorite facts, semi-provable facts about Hellhounds, is that a guy by the last name of Ogden has tried to trace the etymology of the name Cerberus, and Cerberus is obviously the Greek
Yes.
mythology for a hellhound.
Probably the world's most famous hellhound.
Exactly,
Yeah, probably,
exactly.
yes.
Cerberus, as far as they can tell, comes from what did I say? Sumerian earlier?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sumerian.
Sumerian, and it most likely means spot. Hades named his 3-headed hellhound that keeps dead people from escaping Hades Spot.
That's amazing.
My
See,
favorite. It's my
that's
favorite.
because Cerberus, like all other hellhounds, is a very good boy.
Exactly.
Yes,
He
the
has done
goodest
what
boy.
he is
goodest-
told to do.
By the way, I think we can all agree, despite the fact that we never see the monster in this episode, the most adorable monster.
Yeah.
Is
Right?
the hellhound.
Probably.
Okay, this is actually so...
Every dog is a good boy.
Every dog is a good boy. You're doing a good job.
Would you say
Good
Cerberus
baby.
was a doggo or a pupper?
He is both.
Well, I think Cerberus is a
both.
doggo.
There's a difference.
No, there's not.
Cerberus
Yes,
is a
there is.
doggo, but there is a pupper in the episode.
Puppers are this
Yes.
big. Doggos are like
No.
this big.
Yeah.
Cerberus is a doggo.
No matter if they are a pupper,
Cerberus is
a
the
quote,
biggest doggo.
a quote-unquote pupper, or
The
a
real
doggo.
issues.
If they are a good boy, they are always a pupper because they are precious until the very end of their life.
Okay,
I have
so
some
I
memes
have
to
to talk.
email you.
Well, do it,
You
Ben.
fucking email those memes. Holy shit.
Hold on.
What is
I
it,
have to print out
2005?
these memes and I have to send them in the mail.
Oh my
Can I get your
god.
address and some money for a stamp, please? Oh, just kidding. I have one of those forever stamps.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me put you in my top 8.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Okay,
No,
so
I
I have
Oh.
to talk about this scene before
Okay.
I literally burst and die.
do it.
Please.
Okay, so in the episode when Sam is trying to protect Hudson from the Hellhounds, and they're trying to break in through the door, you see like everything quiets down, and Sam's like, "Is it over? Is it done?" And then you see the vent pop out, and I just want to say that Hellhound must have been like a puppy.
Yeah,
Like,
it
that
really
vent
had-
was
yeah.
very small.
It
was not a
was
big
100% by any definition a pupper.
And let me tell
mean,
you,
that-
that
Mine
pupper
or
is a
Ben.
very good
See,
boy.
I would love a Hellhound Maltese or something. That would be kick ass.
Yes.
See that?
Hey, I just
that
want you to
vent
know.
was even like that vent was like 1 foot by 1 foot square.
Oh yeah, that Hellhound was a tiny dog.
It was a pupper. That is what happened when Satan's dog discovered that my gorgeous terrier / boxer that is no more than 40 pounds was in heat. That's what happened.
Yes. Look, Travis and I have cats, but we are dog lovers as well.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
I will
You're
pet a
my
dog.
favorite kind of people.
I'll
The
pet a
people that
dog.
are like, it doesn't matter if it's a cat or a dog. It
Yeah.
has beautiful, innocent eyes. I love it.
Yes,
Ari and Travis have the same amount of cats as I have dogs.
that is true.
That is
Yeah.
true.
I have 3 dogs for reference.
And we have 3 cats.
Ari and Travis
Sitting in a tree.
and Ben. Shut up, Ben. And Ben are
I
like,
feel like fucking my brother.
the in between of what I actually have, which is 2 dogs, a 40. I'm sorry.
A
sorry.
40-pound cat.
I'm sorry.
A cat that is dying of diabetes.
Named Mike Tyson.
No, it's
Listen.
a mountain lion.
And has ear in his mouth constantly.
Ignore
Yes,
them.
that's
Ben is literally talking about my roommate right now. So okay,
Yeah.
no,
She has- it's a big ass cat.
a 50-pound pit bull, a 40-pound boxer / terrier mix,
That dog is yappy.
which was not a good idea on the part of those 2 horny individuals, and then 2 cats.
That dog was the kin to a Lantor in Asia.
Exactly. And I love her. She's a great dog, but she is goddamn hyper.
Hey.
So this episode might be my favorite episode that we've had so far in season 2. If I'm remembering the season correctly, it's not my favorite of the whole season, but so far, this is the first episode that I get hype about. It's
That's
just so
everyone
good.
I've talked to in the past week. Like everyone who is like either knows about the show or watches
fan,
Supernatural
yeah.
is a fan of Supernatural. I've been like, oh yeah, so in the show we're about to watch Crossroad Blues, the Hellhound episode, and everyone is like, oh shit.
So one of my favorite things about this episode
Yeah.
is that it brings hoodoo / voodoo
That you do.
out
What about the babe?
out of the huge and incredibly I don't know the correct word because I'm drunk, but the huge umbrella of quote unquote paganism. It brings them out from under that umbrella.
Yeah, it
And makes-
specifically mentions
Yes.
some hoodoo / voodoo
Exactly.
practices.
It makes
Yeah.
them a little bit more mainstream just because it names them.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's really bad to like label individuals,
Yeah, it doesn't
is,
put us under the umbrella of pagan.
exactly.
Right.
It is still important to have labels.
That's actually, so I think it's not a huge spoiler, Travis, to say that the religion that Supernatural kind of focuses on is a Judeo-Christian one.
That is true.
I've already picked that up.
Yeah,
with
it's
the
not a
demons
huge
and the
spoiler.
deals and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's pretty clear to say that that's the case. But so it is always nice when Supernatural does like its whole, oh, let's actually specifically go into a religion
Right.
that isn't one of the major 5.
Like the one we
Yes.
talked about in season 1.
Exactly.
So
Zoroastrianism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I do love about this episode is that hoodoo / voodoo does get cast unfairly under the umbrella of paganism, where most of the people that I know that identify as pagan actually identify with Western European religions.
Yeah, generally-
And this is not a Western European
Not
religion
at
at
all.
all.
Well, see, the way I see it is like a lot of people will define themselves as pagan, and
It's kind of like a mishmash.
it's like a
Yeah.
mishmash of like Celtic and Norse
Yes.
and all this weird shit.
Yes.
Because
But-
just to clarify, pagan means
anything that's
non-Judeo-Christian.
non-Judeo-Christian.
So like Hindu is technically pagan.
Yes.
Buddhism is technically pagan.
Right, and so is Muslim, which is super unfair.
No, Muslims Judeo-Christian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Islam-
Coming from somebody that actually graduated out of a Christian college and school, it's quote unquote, and I know this is not technically correct, but we do live in America.
I think
So quote unquote, Islam is
non-Judeo-Christian.
classified as non-Judeo-Christian.
It's not classified as Judeo-Christian, but it
even
should
though
be.
even
Those
though it's
people
not
are wrong.
fair because
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is an Abrahamic
Right.
religion, and the
Absolutely.
three
Yeah.
the
Yes.
three Abrahamic religions are Jewish or
Judaism.
Hebrewism,
Yeah.
Christianity, and Islam.
Yeah.
So
I think that's more to do with like racist American attitudes.
Yeah, that has
about
more to do with
Muslims.
American culture.
Yeah, than necessarily like a worldwide definition.
I do agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. But still, it is American show that actually brings the hoodoo/voodoo out from under that umbrella.
Well, and I'm going to go ahead and spoil this right now. Islam is not a player on Supernatural.
No, it's
figured
not.
that.
Outside of like Judaism is really not a player on Supernatural outside of a very specific, like most of Supernatural's mythos actually has more to do with Paradise Lost than it actually has to do with Christianity.
Which is a fair, it's a very, very fair point. I still really though, because while you're correct, even American Christianity is very
has
much
more to do with Paradise Lost than it does with actual Christianity.
Exactly.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
it's still really great. It's still really great to see them
kind of come out of that umbrella.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I will say, it is one of the few examples I can think of in media where voodoo and hoodooism, even though it's very like, it's not a main part of the episode.
Yeah,
Just kind of
it's very
name-dropped,
kind of like,
but it is done so in a positive way.
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Which
Like,
is
so much
rare.
so,
Right,
where
because-
like the scene where it's introduced is Sam and Dean go to a guy who is trying to avoid the Hellhounds.
Yes.
And he has this line of substance around the ring of his apartment.
Yes.
Supposed to be a salt line, and either, I think it's Dean is like, what is this, pepper?
Yeah.
He's using the wrong thing. And they're like, hey, if you want to keep, bad things out, you got to use salt. And the guy in his apartment is like, you guys never heard of fucking, what's it called?
Gopher.
Gopher dust.
Y'all never heard of fucking goofer dust? You fucking scrubs?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I actually love about that dynamic, for example, is that my two main influences pre any sort of research was Supernatural, and in reference to voodoo/hoodoo was The Key, starring Kate Hudson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, in The Key, voodoo/hoodooism is framed as a villain in and of itself, not just the villains themselves, but
Right.
voodoo/hoodoo. So, when they did this particular episode and they just casually name dropped hoodoo and they didn't make it a villain or a non-villain, it was really great to me.
Yes. Yeah. The voodoo that does take place, and we're going to talk about this actually a bit in the Freak of the Week, because the whole, it's Supernatural, as always, is this kind of mishmash.
Yeah.
Where, nothing has just come from one influence.
Absolutely.
Right. The Devo were also influenced by...
Sorry.
I didn't do that no matter how drunk I am. That was the cat.
No, that was
did
Steven.
Whoa!
So this episode, I want to talk about briefly how this episode is important to the greater Supernatural fabric.
Tell
Yeah.
me.
It introduces the Hellhounds, which are going to come back.
Yes.
But then also this whole Dean. Okay, one of my favorite parts of the episode is when Dean is confronting Hudson, who, unlike the other victims of the Hellhounds, the other victims were like, I want to be famous.
Yeah.
I want to be successful.
I want to be the best at whatever.
I want to be the best at whatever. Hudson was not interested in that. He wanted to save his wife.
Yes.
So that to the viewer is a more sympathetic reason,
Yes.
right? We would understand anybody
And that's
who's
why
lost somebody.
Sam stuck around to save Hudson or whatever.
Well, I think that Sam would stick around to save anybody, no matter what their reason.
Right.
Because
Well, yeah, and they wanted to
Sam
stick around to save the guy who painted, and he was like, "No, go fuck yourself. I
Yeah.
want to die."
As you've brought up before,
Yes.
Sam tends to personify traditionally femme struggles.
Feminine, yeah. He is coded, to me, he is coded female.
And
Yeah.
so one of the things that women are socialized to do in our society is to be martyrs.
And take care of everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would agree on one level, but I also think that the particular person they're protecting in this episode is also coded to represent traditionally femme struggles.
this idea of like sacrificing everything. Yeah, I can
for
definitely
somebody
see that.
else, the martyr syndrome.
Yes.
So I think that is one reason why they actually wrote him that way, to make us more sympathetic to the people that Sam and Dean are protecting, so that at the very beginning of the episode we're not just like, just let him fucking die.
Well, I think that as far as Sam goes and him being written as like coded female,
Yeah.
I actually don't know if the supernatural writers and if Eric Kripke knew knew that. You know what I mean?
Well, like we had this conversation earlier.
Yeah.
I think on a subconscious level
Yeah.
that they are making
They are aware of this.
they are aware of this on at least a very, very subconscious level.
I think that when I intake media, and to spare us a 2-hour-long conversation about death of the author, when I intake media, I honestly don't think about authorial intent.
Yeah.
I think about how I am interacting with the work as it stands. So I really don't care if the writers consciously knew they were doing this. To me, Sam is coded female, and he's coded queer. Mm-hmm. And I think that I don't think women have a martyr syndrome, but I think that they are kind of taught to take care of people and to sacrifice. I think that men can be as well, but in a different way.
Men, it's not a martyr thing, it's a hero thing.
Yeah,
I
it's
definitely agree.
Instead of laying down yourself for someone, you are laying down yourself, or you are rising above whatever it is.
The struggle.
Rising above the struggle to defeat it,
But
rather
the
than
way
laying yourself
Sam-
down to be defeated by it.
Part of Sam's character development is seeing him go from this almost idealistic like guy, you know, who believes in ultimately the good in everyone, and kind of seeing him fall from that.
Oh, yes,
And
definitely.
And we're going to see that progression more in next season as opposed to this season.
Right.
But I think that the reason, at least early, Sam and Dean present this dichotomy between
Right.
Dean, who's like,
Super jaded.
you did this to yourself.
Yes.
And Sam, who believes in helping them no matter what happens.
Right.
Because the reason why that's my favorite scene is because, one, it's super ironic, because Dean in the episode is willing to make a deal. Mm-hmm. Dean is a hypocrite in this instance.
Yeah. Yes.
He understands that pain of losing someone to a demon deal, but he also understands that he would, in an instant, give himself up to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
Which is a layer of complexity that I really enjoy.
It was a nice character development episode for Dean.
Yes.
Because it was also Dean finally realized why John died.
At the end.
I think
At the end.
God
Yeah.
damn it.
Why John died at the end.
I think it was finally coming up to Dean why John died when he did. He finally put all the pieces together. And these next few episodes, we're definitely going to see the follow-up to that.
And the continuation of the story.
Yes.
Let me tell you, some bombs get dropped.
Oh, I could tell. Once this episode finished, there's this big flaming word that said soon. And then, like, a bunch of previews for, like, 2 or 3 episodes ahead. And I was like, this is one of those moments where I want to see the next episode right now.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened since the end of season 1.
Which, it's only been 8 episodes since then. So
Yes.
that's pretty good for the show.
I guess so, yeah.
So I made a note.
Mm-hmm.
You made a note.
I'm too drunk to remember why the fuck I made this note.
Oh, good. I love these.
Okay. So, they use yarrow flowers, I think, in the gopher bag. Or the gopher dust.
Well, they said that there are yarrow flowers going around the crossroad.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
And
So,
yeah.
yarrow flowers are traditionally, according to my Google search, which granted was done while drunk and very quickly,
Girl, you've just answered how I do most of my freak of the week research.
Exactly.
has
Hold
long
on, let me Google this real quick.
has long been associated with magic, and it's recognized as a protective and healing plant, which frankly, it's a little bit confusing for me that they included it in an episode specifically about the Crossroads demon and summoning that demon. It's been recognized as a protective and healing plant. Achilles, after whom Yarrow is named. Achilles, again, being a Greek warrior who his mother was instructed to dip in a specific river. I don't remember which river.
Was it Styx?
No. But she did it by holding him by the heel. By the heel, where your Achilles tendon is located.
Yes.
And so his Achilles tendon wasn't covered, so his one weakness was the tendon in his heel.
Yes.
Again, the Achilles heel.
Yeah, because that shit will fuck you up if you break it.
Was reputed to use yarrow to heal wounds on the battlefield. In fact, yarrow has a long-standing reputation among herbalists in Europe, North America, and Asia for its ability to slow and stop the flow of blood. Part of yarrow's magic is the ability to slow the flow of energy going to a wound to a rate that aids in healing. Yarrow magic is the magic of intentional restraint, which I think is why it correlates well, even though it's interesting that it's connected to healing. It does correlate well to the demon of the Crossroads because it is intentional restraint. Demons are associated with anarchy, no restraint. But the demon of the Crossroads is associated with a restraint. You are there to perform a specific task, despite the fact that you have the power to cause absolute anarchy.
I think it's also good because it's a warning. In a way, it's a warning to people who want to make demon deals. Show restraint.
Exactly.
Yes.
Don't make the deal. It's because something that Achilles...
Too bad people can't speak flower language.
Really quickly, before you go further, because I am fucking drunk.
Chrysanthemum.
This is the
Hello, you
practical.
fucking duck.
This is the practicalherbalist.com, just to give appropriate credit where credit is due.
Sure.
Please continue, Ari.
Oh, I was going to say that because one thing that demon deals, Achilles, and fucking Oedipus has in common...
They all fuck their mom.
They all fuck their mom. This actually kind of reminds me.
This is like, I don't
But it
believe
was a,
Lacey Spriggs are descendants of English nobility, Germanic, or anything else anymore. I believe we're all descendants of Greeks because
It's
Lacey
a,
Spriggs is so full of incest.
Because we love to
It's
fuck
funny.
our mom.
It's funny.
But for real, it's a you can't change your fate thing.
It's an acute, you can't change your fate thing. And I read this interesting article about Oedipus a couple of years ago that kind of reminds me of this whole conversation. This will be very quick. I remember this this article, which said the paper said that Oedipus kind of walked into it.
Yeah.
Because if you found out that you were destined to kill your dad and marry your mom, why the fuck, when you were on the road, why the fuck would you kill a man older than you? And why would you marry an older woman?
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
true.
god, I agree.
Yes.
At least
marry a younger woman. I mean, come
Yes.
on.
I mean,
yes.
a woman who is hopefully at least 17 to 18 older than you.
Well, it was
Why would
ancient
you
Greece.
marry? What?
Yeah, it was ancient Greece, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Who knows?
But,
Maybe
yeah,
14.
Yeah. Why would you marry a woman who was older than you?
Yeah.
Marry somebody younger, you piece of shit. And that's kind of something with this episode is that the people who made the deals, they were warned
Yeah.
that it would not be worth it.
Absolutely.
George warned them, who was the kind of the person who first summoned the demon to get the artistic talent.
At least in the modern day.
In the modern day, right. They were warned that this would not be worth it, and they walked into it anyways.
Yes.
He warned them through what? Their music, right? His music, right?
Well,
no.
George
was
The connection with all the people that made deals with the Crossroad Demon was that they all hung out at the same bar.
okay,
Right.
yes.
And George, he said, "Oh, no one wants to listen to an old drunk."
Yeah.
Because
Right.
he was like, "Hey, don't make deals with this demon," and they were like, "Ah, whatever, you drunkie. I'm gonna kiss this beautiful lady."
Yeah.
So,
Which actually, hold on, I want to bring up an aside real quick. Whenever a main character has to make a demon deal, it's always a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
yeah.
When a jokey side character has to make a demon deal, it is always a man.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well,
Fucked
you-
up supernatural.
Do you think the demon at the Crossroads always shows up as what they think the person making the deal finds the most attractive?
Probably.
Because when Dean
I mean,
showed up
That does
because
go back
when
to
Dean showed up
Judeo-Christian lore.
to confront the Crossroads demon, it was a very attractive brunette lady.
Yes, that does go back to Christian.
Unless they need it for a joke, in which
Yeah.
case it's the dude.
Judeo-Christian lore, which is that Lucifer, who will eventually be recognized.
Mark Pellegrino.
Yes.
Mark San Pellegrino.
Recognized
Mark
as the
LaCroix.
most attractive
Mark
man in
Propel.
history. Judeo-Christian lore recognizes Satan as showing up as the most attractive thing to you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. It's a temptation thing.
But one of the
Bite
things,
the apple.
Yeah.
one of the things that when
Eve
you
wanted to
do
fuck a
just
snake.
a
Not
basic,
necessarily an apple.
when you do a basic
Also,
Google,
not necessarily a snake.
when you do a basic Google search on Crossroads or Southeastern lore, one of the things that comes up in Wikipedia is 30 pages, and one of them is Crossroads. So the Crossroads demon,
Yeah.
again, Southeastern
It's a
culture
big-
in general
Yeah,
is very
it's a
heavily
big thing
influenced
in,
by
like, the
Judeo-Christian.
the deep South,
Yes.
Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, like meeting the devil at the crossroads to sell your soul for whatever you want, usually a talent in something, generally
Yes.
music.
Right.
We've seen it in
Well,
we've seen it in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
No, when I googled Crossroads, I got My Girl, Papa with a Rolling Stone, and Ain't Too Proud to Beg.
Absolutely.
So according to the progression of
Musical
my
puns.
notes, I got the one thing that had Wikipedia 30 different pages. They weren't all on the Crossroads demon, but the Crossroads
Well,
demon was one of the lore
I
in
feel
the
like
30
this is a
Right.
good way to segue into Freak of the Week. So let's finish up any final thoughts on the episode before we get into Freak of the Week.
I really like the music.
The music was
Not only just the
stand
blues
out.
music, but during the ending preview, they played Hair of the Dog by Nazareth,
Yes,
which is a
yes.
fucking banger.
It is a banger.
Okay, well I wrote Yarrow Flowers down 2 times.
Nice.
I'm finally.
You love flowers.
I am starting to
Flowers are great.
sober up.
Flowers are pretty.
I think that because, as was pointed out, the demon, the form the demon takes to Dean is a beautiful brunette. She's
Yeah.
also hypersexualized. I think
To quote our friend Elliot White, the devil indeed had amazing titties.
yes, yes. So okay.
Lovely young.
Anyway, I think one of the underlying themes in / hoodoo voodoo.
It's titties.
I mean,
No,
titties are
but
great no matter what the cause.
Southeastern
Hey.
lore in general is that sexuality is demonic in general.
Well, this
Because
gets
it's
to
about
like
temptation.
I don't want to. I will say I don't think that's really about like. I don't know enough to say that that's a hoodoo voodoo thing, but in Judeo-Christian like culture,
Yeah, sexual temptation.
sexuality is a huge thing.
Yeah,
Right,
it's a
but
temptation thing, and the demons, the devil will tempt you.
The
with
episode,
sex
while
stuff.
doing a good job of bringing hoodoo voodoo to light out from under its what? God damn it! What's
Well,
the word?
Supernatural does it
not just umbrella, but there's a modifier there in front of umbrella. It's a negative modifier.
Bad umbrella.
It is a bad umbrella when viewed through Judeo-Christian values. When viewed through those values, I think one thing they could not get away from when viewed through those values was sexuality is not necessarily a good thing.
Well, I think that I agree with you, but I think that I think we have kind of overstated how much hoodoo voodoo is mentioned in this episode. It is a tertiary.
It's a couple
connection.
of like throwaway lines.
Yes, one of the
It's not the
plot
big
points-
representation.
Yes.
Okay, so
the demons are the big focus.
Yes.
my point of that was not specifically that hoodoo voodoo was brought out from under that umbrella,
Yeah,
but specifically that
we still view sexuality. The episode still views like sex and kind of
exactly,
yeah.
despite the fact that it viewed the other thing in a more positive light than what is generally seen,
Right.
especially at that point in history 10 years ago.
Right.
That was my main point. I'm sorry.
No, I agree. But I also want to say, fuck, I had a point and it's gone. Oh, I want to say this. We've talked about a lot of stuff, but this episode isn't really about anything we've talked about. This episode is about Dean coming to terms with the fact that his father made a demon deal.
Yes.
Even in death, John Winchester is still rearing his ugly motherfucking head.
I know, right?
And being a
God
huge
damn.
dick.
Oh, well,
John is like, hey, remember me? The biggest asshole in history.
I bet
Okay.
you thought you'd never see me again.
So this episode is clouded in for me in two different ways. One, I've seen every episode except for what is being released episode by episode on network TV.
Right.
And then the other filter is, oh my gosh, I've had 10 years to think about what I'm actually looking at.
Yeah.
So I'm trying hard to like avoid spoilers, but I still somehow slip up and make spoilers anyway.
Sure.
So when we're talking about the fact that he's coming to terms with the fact that his dad made like a demon deal, like I'm trying to avoid like super major spoilers.
Yeah.
Even though technically with this episode in life, that's not a super huge spoiler, but it's like I'm overcompensating on one side of the spectrum or other.
I mean, like, I know just through the nature of the show that John is eventually going to come back.
You're right and you're wrong.
You're right and you're wrong.
I mean, I know...
Hey,
The way
finally,
she
I'm
said
not
it.
the one saying it.
I know that I am going to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan's face again.
Hey,
Yes.
I mean, as long
That
as
is
we
what I
see
mean.
him
Yes.
shirtless, I don't care.
Okay.
Hey, when I said John reared his ugly face, I meant a spiritually ugly face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is an attractive man.
Oh, absolutely.
When I found
I think-
out
I
he
think we
was in
talked about
P.S.
that.
I Love You, because that came out several years
Wait.
after the
He was in
first
Wait,
P.S.
he was
I
in
Love
P.S.
You.
I Love You?
He was, and
I got it.
I was so like, oh fuck yes.
Elizabeth.
I'm telling you, he was in P.S. I Love You.
I have an ex-girlfriend who pirated a copy of P.S. I Love You and put it on a DVD for me.
P.S. I Love You is the first romantic movie that had me in
All right,
tears
let me-
for the
hold-
majority
hold-
of the
everybody
movie
hold the
Really?
fuck
in
up.
my entire life.
Let's roll this motherfucker back.
All right, let's roll
Okay,
it back.
sorry.
Hang on.
Let's park this
Sorry.
train in the station,
Yeah,
please.
let's park for a second because she's saying Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in this movie.
Yes.
You are saying he is not.
I'm not saying he is not. I'm just not sure if he was.
He was.
I have the cast list pulled up right now.
All right.
Let's make some goddamn bets.
Oh.
Do
Okay.
it, Ben. Do it.
Bring
I'm
it.
going to say
Let's make
he
some goddamn bets.
wasn't,
I
and
got
I'm going to
a
bet...
quarter on he wasn't.
I got a quarter on he wasn't, too.
I have $5, which I don't actually have in my pocket, but it's in my bank account. I have
Whoa.
Whoa, big
five
spend.
Whoa.
$5 that
Hang
he
on.
was.
I can't call you on that. So
I just made 50 cents because y'all motherfuckers is wrong.
He was?
He was.
He was.
wait, where is he? Oh, there he is. He was William.
I told you.
Don't
I
take this the wrong way. I'm not paying you $5.
Yeah, I'm also
It's
not
okay.
paying you
You fed
$5.
me dinner,
Oh, damn.
and I know that cut of meat was at least $5.
So yeah, so the point is that this episode isn't really about, I mean, it does establish some stuff that happens later in the season that's very important, like demon deals and hellhounds and things like that.
Yeah.
But this episode is really about Dean coming to terms with what John did.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something we haven't touched on, but I just wanted to say it real quick before we move into the Freak of the Week portion, because that is something that's very important.
And I think I said earlier, it's a big character development for Dean.
Yes.
Because he's finally realizing what's going on. He's coming to terms with it. And he has to figure out what to do next.
The scene with him and the demon who he gets Hudson to, who he gets to break Hudson's deal is so
Yeah.
good. Because you do see that struggle with Dean. Jensen Ackles just does a great job.
Yeah.
Where you see
Like-
that struggle with Dean wanting to make the deal to save John.
Yeah, and the demon is like, I can help you. I
Yeah.
can bring your dad back.
So the rumor on Twitter is that Jensen Ackles was actually first picked for Captain America, but he was so busy filming Supernatural that they went with Chris Evans. I honestly think that Jensen Ackles has the acting chops that as much as I love Chris Evans as Captain America, he could have pulled off Captain America way better.
I don't know about way better.
If the rumor's true, it was a rumor on Tumblr.
I feel like he would have been better as different superheroes.
Jensen Ackles might make a good Green Lantern.
He plays.
No.
How
No?
dare you?
I don't know anything about superheroes.
Green Lantern, make me the Flash. Look, he plays such an excellent Jason Todd that I could actually see him as Bucky more than I can see him as...
You know what? That's exactly what I was thinking when you went, But I guess my point more than anything, not so much that the rumors were true, is that Jensen Ackles has the fucking acting chops.
He really does.
Every actor in this show is a good actor.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're given bad material.
Absolutely.
I will never forget some of the things that Mark Shepard has had to do and say.
And fucking in later seasons, Timothy Olmesen, amazing
fantastic
actor.
Nisha Collins is great.
Yeah.
Jensen Ackles is great. Fucking Jared Padalecki's fantastic. Like, they're all really fantastic actors. And actually, the last scene with Jensen and Jared, Sam and Dean in the car, and Sam is like, you weren't thinking about making that deal, right? And Dean just is like, changes the music.
Yeah, he basically freezes up. He doesn't know how to respond.
Yeah.
And the only thing he can do is change the music.
Well, and Sam's reaction to that is, like, I could see that, like, fear and struggle on his face.
Yeah.
Because I think that one of Sam's fears is that Dean will break down and make a deal. Right?
I think that stems from Sam feeling like he is the catalyst for bad things happening to other people.
I totally agree.
And but the reaction that they are both able to pull out on very, very subtle things, I think is one of the reasons why, despite problematic subject material sometimes, is why Supernatural's been able to last 13 seasons.
Right.
So final thoughts before we get into Freak of the Week. Remember this conversation, Dean, you fucking asshole.
Yeah. I just want to say that this last scene that you were talking about, I feel like this is maybe like the like background nerd in me, like the tech nerd in me, is that it was like Jared Padalecki had an amazing performance with like showing that fear or whatever. But was Eric Kripke like directing these episodes when he was still involved with the show?
I don't know, but I can look up. Probably not. I'm pretty sure it's Kim Manners who is the director.
Because a lot of the performances and a lot of the like Dean changing the music, it's not only just Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki giving great performances. It's the directors telling them what they should be doing, and the sound designers changing the music for the episode and like for the post-production, and all of this stuff cumulatively.
Yes.
I
think the sound designers, the people specifically,
the sound designers in the show do a good. They're good.
I think they're way
they
better.
do a good job sometimes.
I think they're way better.
You saying this? Okay, so the director for
13,
this is me coming from like, oh, you guys have heard the sketches that we've done on this show.
With 13 years as a viewer, I really do think the sound designers are above what most network TV get.
Oh, sure, until they use like
their sound designers.
Stock horror movie sounds, but that was a different episode.
But
it's a different episode.
I mean, yeah, but
okay.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like Apple Loop stock.
Yes. So the director for this episode, usually the director is Kim Manners. The director for this episode is Steve Boyum, who is a director slash TV director slash like stunt performer. And he directed Supernatural episodes from 2006 to 2010.
Okay.
So
wow, that's a long time.
So yeah, he started in season 2 and continued on through quite a bit of the show. But Kim Manners, I think it's safe to say, at least in these early seasons, directed most of the episodes.
Okay.
One thing that is possibly on Steve Banners, possibly on this, or Boyum, possibly on this actress, the woman who played the Crossroads demon with Dean.
Yeah, she was not great.
Get her some scenery to chew.
Yeah.
I mean, William Shatner at his worst.
Get her a day job.
Yeah, she was beautiful. She was a little much.
Or a different night job.
It was a little over.
I think that goes back to, though, the Judeo-Christian filter of sexuality and
how does her bad acting relate to that?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't feel like she was bad acting. I felt
she was hot.
I feel like they picked her up on a different corner.
Excuse me for saying she had some great gazungas.
She She had some.
I just wanted to use that alliteration.
She had some yummy yabos.
Yeah.
I really did not think her acting
banging
that was
bazookas.
that was that bad. I thought her direction to
titillating titties.
overact was bad.
It is possible
that was what I saw.
That Steve Boyum gave her bad direction.
Yeah.
I personally think that this young woman was told that she was the best community theater actor in her town.
Like many women of the week.
Like many of the one-time women, which she's technically not, because in the definition of the one-time woman is that the definition of the one-time women, they appear once.
Uh-huh.
At least or maybe twice, but
maybe twice.
Very rarely. And then also they help the brothers.
Yes.
So
That's an important aspect. Or they are a victim of supernatural.
In defense of your point, my acting career pretty much extends to only pretending that sin was a giggle-inducing fit in a box, and that if you got in the box, you could never get out.
Wow.
So you probably are right, and I'm probably wrong.
I have my opinion.
I think your dad got sin confused with cube.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is not my father. This was my youth pastor.
Same
I think
thing.
your youth pastor got confused with Cube. All right, are we ready for some Freak of the Week?
Yeah, let's learn about this freak. Let's learn about these freaky doggos.
Okay, so actually, I kind of focused on a lot of different things, and
Yeah.
I kind of have 3 sections with this.
Ooh.
Deal with the devil, crossroad importance, and those cute-ass doggos.
Yes. I
Those
feel like,
adorable doggos.
with the exception of the doggos, I feel like these two things are very... Well, maybe this is just me being in this culture, but it's like... Deals with the devils and stuff like that, it feels very southern. Like, we have a lot of folklore about deals with the devils.
Came down to Georgia.
Yeah, like the devil came down to Georgia and he was looking for a soul to steal. And
I definitely understand why you feel that way, but deals with the devils are as old as time itself.
That is true.
They are as old as time itself, but when I specifically put in Crossroads deals,
it's
Southeastern culture came up. When I put that in
130
for
by the way.
search. When I put that in for search.
It is because it's the as old as time. Because
Yes.
it's 1:30.
Time after
The
time.
I don't know. I was trying to make a joke. It didn't work.
We see deals with the devils all throughout history. Obviously, one of the most famous deals with the devils is Faust, Dr. Faust.
Yes.
Which is a play written by Kit Marlowe, who died before he could see Hamlet staged, very sadly. That's related to conspiracy theory. I can't... So also, quick side note, I can't believe when we talked about favorite conspiracy theories, I did not mention people who believe that Shakespeare didn't write Shakespeare.
Oh, yeah.
One day I'll get into that, but not today.
I even mentioned that in an
deliberately
episode
avoided
one time.
it because you and I have had this conversation before.
You are not as bad as these people, but after we're done, we will be bringing it back up. Shakespeare wrote Shakespeare. Anyways, of course, we see with Faust, there's also a Christian figure named Theophilus, who was a priest, but eventually was tempted by the dark side. This is early Christianity.
Quick question. Dr. Faust, is that the one that Wishbone did?
I have no idea.
Okay, Wishbone.
Wait, Wishbone with the dog?
No, yes, with the dog did
I wouldn't be surprised by this.
Brandon Fraser did a modernization of the same story where there is a man that is tempted by Satan. He gets the girl that he loves.
Bedazzled.
Yeah, it's called Flea Bitten Bargain.
Yeah.
The one with Wishbone.
Yes. So is that Dr. Faust?
What?
Because I've never actually read the original that either material
What's
is based off of.
Am I having a stroke? What is happening?
You are having a
Are we
stroke
talking about
related to what's happening.
Wishbone.
Right?
We're talking about the show Wishbone with the dog.
Yes.
Wishbone with the dog when I was 10,
Wishbone didn't fuck
10,
around.
10 at the oldest.
I thought
10
Wishbone
at the
was
oldest.
like weird versions of like Robin Hood and shit.
No, he got fucking serious
Oh my
with
God.
literature.
Got real.
And that
Wishbone
is why
was way
I
more
love
real than I thought it
fucking
was.
books to the extent that I love because of
Oh.
Wishbone. Because before I could read, Wishbone got me involved in literature. So anyways, Wishbone did do an episode on a man that does a deal with a quote-unquote crossroads
Wait, was
demon.
Brendan Fraser just in that episode?
No,
or was
no,
he
No,
in,
he
like
was
all
in a
of
movie
them?
called Bedazzled,
Bedazzled.
which is
Oh,
about
okay.
Brendan Fraser
You know,
making
there's
a deal
a-
with a very sexy woman devil.
There's
Okay.
Isn't it Liz or Liv?
Liz Hurley.
Liv Tyler?
Yeah.
Liz
No,
Hurley.
that's not right. That's Lord of the Rings.
But no, there's an even more fucked up. There's an even more fucked up modern version of Faust. I think it's called Wishmaster. That gets really fucked up.
Wishmaster.
When you hear about
but
a Faustian deal, we are talking about
that.
So
Right.
I am right about Wishbone doing an
Yes.
episode. Okay, just so I know where we're at. I'm sorry
no,
to
it's
interrupt
fine.
you.
No, it's totally okay.
I mean,
I'm
honestly,
glad that was brought up. It
I
was
learned
essential.
something today.
Yeah,
I hope our listeners did too.
that Wishbone didn't fuck around.
Yeah.
Wishbone
He
was
was
goddamn
here to teach
awesome.
you some literature.
I will
alright?
still read or watch Wishbone-based media.
I'm pretty sure they did a Hunchback of Notre Dame
They
episode.
did. They did Pride and Prejudice. They did Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, they
Oh my
They
God.
did a
Phantom of the
couple
Opera.
of different
But,
Shakespeare,
like-
one of them being Tempest.
But like
and then they
legit
did Faust.
versions of those, not like fucking musical Phantom of the Opera where it kind of
Yeah.
fucks around with Gerard Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'm telling you, you missed out if you did not
Damn.
watch Wishbone
So,
start
like,
to finish.
Wishbone, never mind. This is gonna be a tangent. Now we're not gonna talk about Wishbone.
You know what's really fucked up is that the episode of Wishbone that deals with Faust predates both Wishmaster and Bedazzled.
It does. That's
And
the
Brendan
only
Fraser
reason.
was in that
It's
too.
the only
No,
reason
just-
I
Oh,
watched
okay.
Bedazzled is because of Wishbone.
Okay.
I was gonna say
I've
if Brendan
got-
Fraser was in all those things, that'd be fucking crazy.
So
One more really quick tangent. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
also get in the front of the mic.
Yeah,
if you're gonna bring
go
this
on
up.
with this very far away tangent.
Whatever Quinn Medicine Woman,
Dr. Quinn,
Yeah.
Medicine
Dr.
Woman.
Quinn
Oh,
Medicine
yeah.
Woman, they tried to burn down her library because she had a copy of Faust that she lent out.
Damn.
So that was,
I was
also
gonna say that we
predated
talk
by
about
Wishbone.
Faust being a deal with the devil, but he really isn't. Faust actually makes a deal with Mephistopheles.
Well,
Which is what, the Greek god of dreams?
No, he is a Mephistopheles.
I mean,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I may
Mephistopheles
be
has
getting
been used as a name for the devil.
Yeah.
And
he's technically a different person.
He's
Again,
technically a different person,
this
but
has more to
Mephistopheles,
do-
much like the Beelzebub,
right,
like technically different beings,
but have been used
as names for the devil as we see in Judeo-Christian
right.
society.
Definitely a stand-in, and I will say, Judeo-Christian like names, or Christian specifically, not Judeo-Christian, but Christian names for different figures in the Christian myth do come from a lot of Greek names. Like
Yes.
Lucifer is actually the Roman name for the god Phosphorus.
Yes.
Which I have a long lecture planned when we actually get to Lucifer.
Oh,
so
God.
strap in, motherfuckers.
That
I
episode's
can't
gonna be
wait to
4
listen
hours
to
long.
that.
They're right. But I have some things to say. I have
Yeah.
opinions.
So half of that episode is going to be you giving that lecture. The other half of that episode is going to be about Mark Pellegrino.
It's just gonna be me speaking into the mic for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I feel like we need.
Honestly, Ben and I are going to leave, and I'm just going to leave it recording.
That sounds fine. Let's do that.
Okay,
Door
officially,
slam.
2 different times y'all have made me spit water out.
Nice.
But
That's the goal of this podcast.
Make the guests spit.
Yeah.
the point is that like there are tons of different demon deals throughout history. Tons of real life people have been accused of giving deals with the devil. They were naturally burned at the stake because it was during the time when we actually like
Yeah, it was like witchcraft.
yeah, we
and
did that.
Shit like that.
So usually, Middle Ages to the Renaissance area, right? Back when we were like really fucking shitty.
yeah.
But
That even shows up a little bit in Nathaniel Hawthorne's A Scarlet Letter.
Yes. No.
Not predominantly, but a little bit.
Not
a little bit.
A little bit.
A
Okay. It's been a long
little
time
bit.
since Scarlet Letter.
Pearl is thought of as a like punishment
Okay.
because she's so awful.
Gotcha.
She is.
Yeah,
is
she was born under a star sign, blah, 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 something about
I mean,
a mole,
I'm an Aries. I
all
don't see
kinds
anything
of
wrong with
things.
that.
More like
So
Harry's.
deals with the devil.
Hit me up if you're a Scorpio.
Uh,
I'm winking right now.
we can see that.
You should
Well,
add
the
in
audience can't.
You should add in a winking sound.
Yeah. Bing.
Okay.
And my teeth is a little sparkle.
Deals with the devil all have one thing in common in that it is never worth it. We've kind of talked about
Yeah,
this
it's a
earlier
bit
in
of
the
a monkey's
episode.
paw
It's a
thing.
monkey's paw thing. It's never worth it. It's always gonna
Yeah.
fuck you in the end.
Actually,
Don't do it.
I've been in like the last 48 hours. I've been rewatching The Mighty Boosh.
The Mighty what?
The
Boosh.
Mighty Boosh. It's a British show. Do you know the YouTube video Old Greg?
No.
No.
Oh, you. Oh.
It was a cult, Travis. It was a cult.
You
This
sweet
ex-
summer
this
child.
And you've been
Only-
out of it for years.
Okay.
YouTube's existed
But so-
since 2007.
Okay.
2005.
In
2005.
my defense, I did not have the money for internet until the last 4 years. I'm trying really hard to catch up on everything I missed for
But,
the first 26.
The Mighty
loves one
Boosh
cult
is
for
a
another.
British comedy show, but there is an episode where one of the characters, Howard Moon, the two characters are Howard Moon and Vince Noir. Amazing character names. But Howard is like this older guy and he's super into jazz, and the reason he can't play music anymore is because the spirit of jazz will get inside of him. Because he made a deal with the spirit of jazz.
I want Supernatural to do a Monkey's Paw episode so bad, but I also understand that they will never do it as well as Holic. Look it up. Don't make me explain it.
yeah.
I understand that there's an XXX in front of it.
Yeah.
Holic.
It's an anime.
Holic.
Okay.
I thought it was a porn for the longest time because
you're
of the
not
3
totally
X's in
wrong.
front of it. Yeah, I mean,
What is it? A
very
hentai?
sexy.
No, it's not a hentai.
But it's almost a hentai.
No, not at
No,
all.
it's-
It's not even etchy.
Yeah.
It's
it's still sexy though.
It's sexy.
Ari, I have 2 words and
Oh,
8
those
letters
noodle
for you.
people.
I have 2 words and 8 letters for you.
Aardvark. Wait, that's
Just
one word.
Wait.
Just wait.
Anyways, there's a Monkey's Paw episode? Yes.
Maybe.
Ooh.
Um,
Episode season 14. Here we come.
Also, I can't talk about devil deals without talking about Robert Johnson.
Yes, let's do it.
The Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil myth is not a supernatural thing.
No, that's
No,
like
that's
like
went
people in
very
America
quick.
believe that to be legitimate
very
history.
quick Google search. It was one of the first things that came up.
Oh yeah.
It is Robert Johnson, this idea, because so Robert Johnson is one of the founding members of the 27 Club.
Yes.
Which is the club of musicians and artists who died at the age of 27. Obviously very tragic.
Yep.
Usually, like in, more recent times, it's more due to drug use.
We've got
Yeah.
Robert Johnson, who recently we've got Kurt Cobain.
Kurt Cobain.
Was Amy Winehouse in that?
Yes.
Yeah, Amy Winehouse.
Janis Joplin,
Yep.
Jimi Hendrix,
Yep.
Anton Yelchin,
Yes.
to be the most recent, because he died just a couple of years ago.
So actors count too, not just
Actors count
musicians.
Yeah.
too. If you are a famous person
some
who died
kind
at
of
the age
famous
of
person or
27,
artist.
yes. And there are people who actually believe, there is an NPR article about this, there are people who believe that Robert Johnson really did sell his soul to the devil
Yeah.
for his musical talent. Y'all, a folklorist has had to come out and be like, no, that's not true. He was like, the NPR article was like, yeah, there's no evidence. I was like, really? There's no evidence that Robert Johnson sold his soul to Satan? Are you sure? Are you sure that's not an IOU written anywhere?
I mean, okay.
Dear Lucifer?
I mean,
Dear Mark Pellegrino.
Dear Mark Pellegrino.
No, I think Satan would write Robert Johnson an invoice.
Yeah.
In the defense of the person that said there's quote unquote no evidence.
He is right. I agree with him.
Yeah, there's no
There-
evidence.
There are people that practice religious rituals all the time, and there's proof that they practice religious rituals. Selling your soul to the devil would be quote unquote a religious ritual.
Bruh, I can
Well, I mean-
sell my goddamn Mercedes to Jimmy fucking Neutron.
I mean,
And I can write out a bill of sale. That doesn't mean it actually happened.
I'm not saying that
I
it
mean,
happened.
have
I'm
people-
not saying that it happened. I'm just saying that like finding the level of humor that we do find in that quote, there's no
What-
evidence. It's just a
What I
it's just
imagine-
a tiny bit unrealistic because there's plenty of proof in other cultures throughout history that people practice religious rituals, which selling your soul would be.
No, but what I imagine is a group of government-funded people going to a crossroads and being like, I think this is where Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil. Started an excavation site, did not find a metal box full of cat bones, and went, well, this must not be the right place, and then went to a different place and go, this is the place, and did it so many times they're like, oh, we can't find any evidence of it.
What?
That's what I think
Some
of.
archaeologist was like, look, there is no evidence. I am doing my PhD on this.
I
There
feel
is no evidence.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you guys that it's not a humorous idea. I'm just saying there's there's thousands of years of evidence that people practice religious
Yeah.
rituals.
Yeah.
But I understand the humor behind the idea. I do.
I just think
I'm
it's
gonna-
funny that NP fucking
R
had to find a guy to dispel this. And because here's the thing: if we were like back in the 1700s, some dickheads doing like Satan shit, I would be like, yeah, totally makes sense. I get it. But the idea that because this article came out 100 years after his death.
Yeah.
100 years
100
after
years.
his
Wait,
death.
when did
So,
he
like-
die?
Not 100 years after his death.
1938.
When he was 100.
Yeah.
So if he died at 27, 100. So
53 years later.
53 years later.
Wait, is that
That's
right?
not right.
No, that's not right.
Hold on.
83 years later.
No.
He died at 27.
77.
So
73
83
years later.
No.
83
Yeah,
plus
yes.
27.
77.
73?
Yeah.
73.
Alexa, what's 83 plus 27?
That's 110.
That's 110.
So,
Hey,
So yeah, 73 is right.
yeah,
Travis
73.
Okay.
fucking short. That is my job. I am Alexa.
All right, well, I was a music major,
And
not a math
I already
major.
said 73,
I
goddamn.
feel like we should take it.
So
Travis's-
73 years later, NPR. Some jackass at NPR was like, "We're doing this story about Robert Johnson.
Yeah.
Better find an expert on the subject.
Well, yeah.
Somebody who has written papers about this to be like,
Someone-
BT Dubs, guys.
Even
Robert
better than
Johnson
that.
didn't sell his soul."
Yeah, even better than that, someone has written a paper about Robert Johnson and how he has not sold his soul.
Yes.
I mean,
Somebody was like, "This is pretty prevalent. Better take care of this while I'm at it."
again, I don't disagree with the humor of that statement.
Yeah.
I don't. Because
Good.
it's fucking hilarious.
True.
I'm just pointing out the more practical
I feel
side
like-
of the matter.
I feel like we
Oh,
can take
but-
Travis's
hold on.
picture a little bit further. Like, what if instead, like it was actually Satan that gave him mystical, magical guitar powers? We're actually just in the Matrix, and those government people were actually just Agent Smiths who took him out of the Matrix, plugged him into a computer, and put it in a little cassette that
Whoa,
had guitar
I know
really
bluegrass.
playing. Yeah, I know bluegrass.
I know bluegrass now.
Show me.
So,
Okay.
basically, somebody was like, Robert Johnson, who sat in a room and played a guitar for 41 days
Yep.
and 16 hours
Yep.
and became amazing at blues guitar, was like, wow, he must have sold his soul to the devil
Yeah.
for
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I mean,
And that's based on the fact that you have to do 1,000 hours of something to become an expert at
exactly. I mean,
It's
like I
10,000 to
said,
become a master.
like
it. Oh,
I
is it
said,
10,000?
I
Oh,
do not
fuck.
disagree with the humor of the statement. I am just pointing out the more practical / realistic side
Yep.
that there are thousands of years of evidence that people practice religious rituals.
We got it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But that being said, really, there is no evidence that Robert Johnson even tried to contact our Lord Satan
Yeah.
to make this deal, right? Because
Pellegrino, our Lord Pellegrino.
our Lord San Pellegrino, because the people point to the Crossroad Blues as being like that's what he was trying to say.
Yeah.
If you actually listen to Crossroad Blues, it's about a hitchhiker who runs across a Man in Black situation. It has more in common with Young Goodman Brown than it
Yeah.
does with Faust.
Okay, I don't understand the Young Goodman Brown reference, and I understand you'll probably have to cut this out, but please explain it to me really quickly.
Oh,
Nathaniel Hawthorne.
Nathaniel Hawthorne wrote a story about this guy going into the woods and meeting the devil. That's what Crossroad Blues is about. It's about beating the devil, not actually summoning him to make a deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Faust, like, seeks out Satan to make a deal with him. Robert Johnson's song Crossroad Blues is just about running into him like at the
Yeah.
super
Okay.
It's like I was going down the road
Yeah.
and there was a four-way stop,
Yep.
and on the other side of the four-way stop, well, it
Satan.
happened to be Satan.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Oh, something we did not cover yet is that the Crossroads reference is throughout history and different cultures generally a reference to in between
Yes.
Yes.
places,
Well,
which would make it
According to my research, they used to worship gods at the crossroads.
Yes.
Particularly Mercury and Odin.
Okay.
Don't know why those were mentioned in the same text, but they were.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
Do you remember what name I said for voodoo hoodoo? Because I do not remember.
I have it down. In voodoo, Papa Legba, who is a super important voodoo figure, was the Iwa of the Crossroads. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, and I do apologize. Also, according to voodoo and hoodoo legend, people could play games of chance and meet a black man at midnight or just before dawn.
Okay.
So Crossroads, obviously, very important. It's also, and probably because of the voodoo influence, a popular legend in blues songs. I mean, we've already mentioned Crossroads Blues, but it's also talked about in Set It to the Devil, which is by Black Spider Dumpling. Let's talk about those puppos.
Before we get to the puppos, I want to mention something else about Crossroads.
Puppos.
There is this concept of like, I forgot the actual word, but it's like these ethereal spaces where reality is altered.
Yeah,
Yes.
what was in between and betwixt,
Yeah.
something along those lines, which was
these
generally
like these liminal spaces.
Yeah.
Are places where like reality always seems a bit off, and that something about that is so, especially nowadays, it's so American in its culture, because there is this picture, like we all know the American Gothic like painting of like the farmer and his wife.
Yeah.
But I feel like there is a more modernized version of what American Gothic is, and it is highway crossroads, where you pull off at an exit and there is always a McDonald's, a Burger King, a KFC, Taco Bell, and at least 3 different gas stations.
Yep.
And everybody has been here.
Yep.
Everybody has been here. Not in the exact same place, but everybody in America has been to this place.
Yeah.
so
There is a Subway. There is a Love Station with an Arby's in it. It's always the same.
I want to say that Lewis Black is the one that made this joke, but it could be incredibly, incredibly wrong. But there is a white male comedian that made the joke.
Very specific.
Yeah, well, again,
Thank God there are only 10 of them.
I'm
So it would be really easy to knock them down.
horrible with names. Again, I'm horrible with names. I want to say this Lewis Black, but it could be very wrong. I just know that it's definitely a white male comedian. Made the joke that they built a Starbucks across from the Starbucks.
Yes.
Okay. Is that Lewis Black?
Probably.
It's actually it's a joke they made in a fucking Shrek movie. So who the
Yeah.
fuck knows?
Okay.
But
well,
it is a cultural joke.
I used to live near the redneck version of this, which is they put on where 70 old railroad bed / county line road crosses 72.
Yes.
They have a Mapco
A Mapco across the street from a Mapco,
yes.
yeah.
So like
That's because when you're on each side of the highway,
Yes.
you can pull off. You don't have to turn left. You
Exact-
can just pull right into it.
But it is literally the only crossroads where I've seen where
Yeah.
that happens. Of any
I'm pretty
sort of
sure
store.
those Mapcos are also franchised by different people.
True.
Possibly, yeah.
But I said all that to say this is these liminal spaces. You have to be careful because you could possibly cross into alternate realities. So just
and
be careful while you're out
when you
on the
cross
road.
from Old Railroad Bed across 72 to County Line,
It's like crossing
you
into
go,
a different
you
world.
go from redneck to bougie.
Yeah.
You know what's
So.
worse than physical gags?
What's that?
Local humor.
Yeah.
Bite me.
Girl, you're right.
Bite me.
So let's talk about some doggos.
Let's talk about some
puppers,
doggos and some
good
puppers.
boys.
I love some pepper.
Some good boys. First of all, I want to say this, and this is a true fact that I found in all of my research. All hellhounds are good boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very good boys. We talked about earlier in the
They listen
episode
to their owners.
how they do. We talked about in the episode Cerberus, probably the most famous of the doggos that
Yes.
are also hellhounds. And hellhounds in Supernatural are definitely like, I mean, they're still good boys, but they're dragging people to hell.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I find hellhounds ironic because they don't bite the hand that feeds, but they do feed on hands.
True that, yo. But in myth, the doggos, the hellhounds are not necessarily like, you know, hunting down people to drag them to hell. Like Cerberus just kept dead people from leaving.
Right.
Yeah, wouldn't a 300 dog keep you
Celtic.
where you were?
What I saw when I did a really quick Google search was in Celtic lore. There's a specific hellhound that is neither good nor bad, but if you see him, it is a definite portent of imminent death.
Kind of like the black dog.
And there were no
Yeah.
vowels
Like-
in it, so I cannot pronounce it to save
Of
my
course,
fucking
as
life.
soon as you said that it was a Celtic thing, of course there's no vowels
There's
in
no
it.
vowels. I cannot pronounce it.
Maybe
I'm
there's
sorry.
one Y in there, but
Well,
there's
it's
not.
also the black dog also appears. I know what you're talking about, and the black
Yes.
dog also appears in like the Scottish and Welsh,
Yeah.
and was probably the inspiration for J.K. Rowling's.
Yeah, with
Grim-
Sirius Black.
Yeah, the
I was
Grim.
really hoping that I would see a black dog because I really wanted to make a serious black joke, but I couldn't because we never saw the dog.
We never see the
And
dog.
They were
spoiler-
invisible the whole time.
Spoiler:
What?
you never see them.
That is
I will
true.
say this.
We
this
never see those good boys.
This episode was as serious as it was black.
Ooh, buddy.
I will say Sirius Black in dog form, as well as Remus Lupin in werewolf form, both good boys.
Yes.
Good boys. Good boys.
Yes, great boys.
A lot of again, we see that blues connection. Robert Johnson apparently was not interested in discounting this rumor. Not that I think it existed at the time of his death, because he has another song called "Hellhound" on my trail.
Yeah.
like I mean, come on, guy.
For real.
Which refers to a cadijo, or a Mexican and Central American big black dog that hunts travelers who walk late at night on rural roads. So you have a lot of examples of black dogs. I mean, it's a very old sort of like.
You know what's funny is in the past week, I actually scrolled past a Tumblr post of an artist that drew a bunch of versions of black dogs throughout culture. They included the Grim. They
Yeah.
included the Catijo.
Yeah.
They included the Owizodal. Not the Owizodal. Yes, Owizodal.
Yeah,
This will be included in the non-existent show notes.
Yes.
absolutely not. Don't put that on
Yeah, no.
us.
But it
add-
was really cool because there was a bunch of stuff from like Hindu and Indian culture and Chinese and Asian culture and all these like really cool things that other like black dog figures that I didn't know about, and I was like, oh, these are some cool doggos.
I keep picking on the non-existent show notes because I am a fan of the show. I listen to it every week as it comes
Yeah,
out.
and then you listen.
And y'all are
you're
always for the last 6 or 7 episodes. This will be in the show notes.
Hey.
And I look. There's no fucking show notes.
That's the goddamn
that is-
joke.
That is to blame on both me and Ari, because every time Ari is like, "This is going to be in the show notes," and I'm like, "No, it won't. It's going to mess with our RSS feed."
Listen, y'all will never live it down.
Because the
With
one
me,
time-
you will never live it down.
The one time I tried to add something to the show notes,
It didn't work.
It didn't work. It messed up our RSS feed, and it only posted to Libsyn instead of everywhere else.
Please.
Until I could fix it.
Please actually include this in the actual edited episode.
Okay.
Oh,
See,
can
I
I
will-
share with you my favorite name for a black dog that wanders around in these myths?
Yes.
What's that?
The Modi Doo,
The
The
Modi
Modi
Do.
Do.
also referred to as the Mouth Doog, is known to inhabit only one location, Peel Castle on the Isle of Man. The most famous interaction occurred between the dog and a guard. The dog, emboldened by alcohol, determined that he would find and deal with this haunter. So he went alone down the corridors of the castle. Shortly thereafter, his screams were heard. When he was found, he mentioned only the dog. Several days later, he died. I just love that name. It's spelled ModdeyDhoo.
Okay.
Nice.
But yeah, there are tons of different types. There's a church grim, which is a Finnish dog. There's Yethhound.
Yifhound?
It's Yeth.
Okay.
Tons of different
Because
ones that most of whom-
YFH
I know what you're about
YIFF is
to
an
say.
entirely
Stop,
different kind of
stop,
hound.
Stop.
I love that I catch no blame for the show notes thing because I'm too ephemeral to catch any blame for that.
Well, because Ari always mentions the show notes.
I do.
And then
I
I'm
mention
I'm
things.
usually always the person who posts the episode, so
I
that's the end of
I honestly have this running belief that while Ari's saying this will be in the show notes, Travis is going, no, shaking his head like,
that's
shut up.
That's
shut
basically
up. It's not
like
happening.
there was one episode pretty early in season 1 that was like we talked about a bunch of books we were reading,
Yeah.
and Ari was like, we're gonna put all these books in the show notes, and as I was listening to that episode before I posted it at 1 a.m. I was like, No.
No.
And I literally
no.
wrote, you can blame Travis for not putting the books in the show notes.
It's all right. People can look it up themselves. I really
Yeah.
don't care anymore. All right, so that's the end of my notes. I hope you've learned more about Crossroads deals with the devils, and good doggos.
Yeah.
Who do what their masters tell them what to do. Elizabeth, thank you so much for being on this episode with us. I had a good time.
Thank you. I had a great time.
I think our listeners enjoyed it as well. Is there any social media that we can find you at? If anybody,
I'm on Instagram as Jimmy Safeword, no caps, all one word.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Travis.
Yes.
The next episode is called Croatoan.
Croatoan.
What's it about?
Sam and Dean go to an island in the South Pacific.
This is lost.
And no. They go to an island in the South Pacific and they're like, man, it's really hot and humid here. There's a lot of bugs. Don't like that.
Is this arachnophobia?
And then all of a sudden, the island they're on, which turns out to be an active volcano, starts erupting. And
this is Krakatoa.
Oh my god.
Oh shit, you're right. It is Krakatoa. My bad.
I know I'm just interrupting you, but I'm like, I'm gonna nail this
Oh
shit.
god damn it, you're right. That is Krakatoa. Oh well, the next episode has Sam and Dean in it.
All right, well, we'll talk
feel
about
like you
it
fucking
next time.
planned this shit.
Yeah.
Talk about Hey Assbutt. If you want to find us, you can at Habcast at Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter.
Yes.
Also, you can email us at heyassbuttpodcast@gmail.com. We have merch. Check it the fuck out.
Oh god, we're definitely gonna have merch by this episode.
We definitely
Jesus Christ.
There'll probably be a link in the description. Who knows?
Like,
No, there won't.
review, and subscribe to our
Yes,
podcast.
yes, on iTunes,
Google Play,
Spotify,
Stitcher, Spotify.
Everything that you can think of.
Because that's how we get the podcast out to more people. Thank you guys. Have a good fucking life.
Is this the last episode of this podcast?
Yes.
Yes.
I guess you're gonna be able to find us on the back of a milk jug now.
Goodbye forever.
Wait.
Nope, it's too late. We're going.
We started.
Me again.
Oh, okay. God damn it.
Go